Joe Rogan Podcast. Check it out.
The Joe Rogan Experience.
Train by day, Joe Rogan Podcast by night, all day.
I used to have a dog that had terrible, I don't know how to, I'm always traveling, and also, like, I'm not real good with discipline of, like, someone else, you know? Like,
Right.
I don't know how to train a dog. So I just let him do anything. So I think it was hilarious. He'd be, like, chewing on something, like, check that out. They're like, he shouldn't do that. I was like, fuck it, let him. Like, I just liked the idea that he was wild. It made me happy.
Yep. It's very bad, though, if, your dog bites somebody.
Oh, he's always just humping stuff
What
and, like,
kind of
eating. He was a Ridgeback.
Oh, Rhodesian Ridgeback?
Yeah.
Oh.
But in my mind, I'm like, well, why do I want to rain tyranny on this dog and be like, he needs to sit, I kind of liked that he was like this little psycho that would hump things. And
That's fun, but you got to be able to control them.
no, I know, I couldn't.
Yeah. How old were you back then?
I was young, like 31 or something at the time. It was like young.
It's not that young.
Young to me, dude. I didn't become an adult for a while.
For like 6 months ago.
Yeah. Well, about 4 years, I think, is when. No, but that dog, I would open the door, he would just dart. And I was like, this dog is unhinged. I let him
You
wolf.
liked it.
Yeah, I liked it.
That's
It was
crazy.
cool.
Yeah, I've had some crazy dogs, but it's like you got to train them.
I know.
They have to listen to you.
Well,
'Cause
whenever-
I had a lot of pit bulls when I was
Oh,
younger.
nice.
They have to listen.
You look like a pit bull.
They have to have a sense that you're the boss. You have to be kind and sweet.
Oh,
You
for sure.
love them, but you're the boss. Like, you have to train them. I trained my dog diligently. I was like, treats, sit, stay, line up, make them stay for 5 minutes, and then give them a big treat and hug them and kiss them. You got to, like, make sure they fucking listen.
Well, that was the problem. Is that I would literally, like, he would be doing something, and I'd be like, he doesn't respect me. And I would think, like, that's as simple as it was. My dog, he saw me as, like, a cool guy. He didn't respect me.
He was your friend.
Yeah, exactly. So, like, I would leave him with his dog trainer in Sherman Oaks, and the dog trainer would send me videos, and he'd be like, look, and I would think, look at me, my money's going to good, look at what my dog's doing. He's doing a little turn, but it's because he respected that guy. And so then he would come back to my house, he'd just piss on the couch while he's laying there, and I'm going, wait, what was all that stuff he learned? He goes, my dog's looking at me going, not for you.
Yeah, you're my friend.
Yeah, you're the cool guy.
You're my
that lets
fucking
me-
roommate, bro. We were buds.
It sucks,
We're both
dude.
dogs. Come
Which is
on.
a metaphor for my life, too. Like, I was the fun piss on the couch guy. But at some point, you got to grow up and be disciplined.
You
and
really do.
Yeah.
And you don't
it's
have as
better.
much fun, but the fun that you have, you appreciate.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, because it's like, it's not out of control.
Yeah.
My dog that I have now is the first dog that I've ever had that was so easy to train. It's like I didn't even train him.
And it's a golden? Aren't they
Yeah.
kind of dumb?
No,
that's
my
not-
dog's very smart.
What's the dumb
Yeah.
breed?
They're just sweet. They're sweet, so people think they're dumb, but he understands words. Like, I'll say, not that door, dude. Let's go in the side door. And he turns around and goes towards the side
Nice.
door. Like, he gets it. Like, he's a fucking smart dog, but training him was like that.
Really?
Oh, my God. First of all, Goldens have no resistance. They don't want to fight. They don't want to. They never growl at people. They never. If they bark, it's they see something weird. They never bark at people. Like, they're just the sweetest dogs.
I
So
love
they just
that.
want you to be their friend. So, like, teaching him to sit was, like, real easy. It was like, sit. And I push his butt down. And then I give him a little treat. And then I'd say, sit. And he'd just sit down.
Love
And I
it.
give him a treat.
Yeah.
And then next day it was like, sit. He sat. Pat him on the
Yeah.
head. Give him a kiss. Now he just listens. It
Which
was
is
like
also the
that.
metaphor for humans. We like to have a little approval. Like, it's less it's
yeah.
less of the treat and the pat on the head.
They're the
I made
most
Dad
like
happy.
Yeah, they're the most like people.
Yeah.
Those dogs. They're the most like people.
What's the dumb breed? Because I don't want to keep doing this.
there's a lot of dumb
Sometimes
breeds.
I'll see, like, a Dalmatian, and then I'll ask that one.
Poor little Carl. Carl's not the brightest, but
It
his
is
brain's the size of my thumb. It's not.
That
He
one
doesn't have a
over
big
there.
head.
They're cute, though.
I
That's the
fucking
thing.
love the shit out of that dog.
Yeah.
He's so jacked too. Look how jacked he is. His
know.
little muscles.
He's in constant shape.
Well, him and Marshall like go to war. Like he just when Marshall's here, like Carl gets so tired from playing with my dog because my dog doesn't fight back, so
Yeah.
he just totally takes advantage of it. Just
I love
throws
it.
himself at him like a torpedo. But when it's over, he like can't breathe. He's like,
Oh, yeah, because he was bred to not
he's got
wrestle.
no nose.
Yeah,
He's got no fucking nasal cavity. It's like
It is a weird dog.
that used to be a wolf.
They look like aliens.
But it's so fucking weird that humans turned a wolf into that fucking thing.
I think it's our best invention.
It's a pretty cool job. Like, not saying it's an ethical thing or a smart. I mean, it's kind of like, you know, if you
our
knew
best
what you
invention.
were doing to a wolf, it's kind of fucked up. But
But it
pretty
doesn't need
amazing.
to survive. That thing's,
Right.
yeah, he's got Jamie, he's got
Right.
us. He's in the safest place in America right now.
Like when you see those ladies that carry them around them little purses, they got a dog carrying around with their purse.
Yeah.
Like, that's like that used to be a wolf.
That's wild.
They're trying to do that to us.
What I know.
They're trying to
That's
do
the
that to
problem.
us, Jeff
Just
Dye.
keep your dogs.
They're trying to do that to
Don't
us.
change me.
They want to do it to everybody.
I know.
If Kamala won, we would have been one step closer to poodles.
That's right. Yeah. Every day I was getting closer. That's why I'm single too. Just trying to hold on to any freedom I got.
It's you got to find someone that you jive with that gets you. And that's what's hard. It's like people want to change people. Girls look at guys,
yeah.
they look at some guys like a project. Like, I know he doesn't want to settle down. I know he doesn't want this.
Yeah.
But if I could just get him to start changing the way he dresses.
I know.
And then I'll get him to do things. Open the car door for me. Like, my hands don't work.
I know. I'm the Ridgeback we were just talking about, where I'm going, just let me be wild. Let me, I'll spend like 24 hours with a woman and just enjoy every second of it. I enjoy all the affection, the door opening. I enjoy these kind of things, taking care of someone, showing them how
Do you
cool.
open up the car door?
Yeah, I'll do that.
Wow.
Yeah, I like that.
All
But
right.
I'll
Look at
show
you.
them my life. Hey, these are my comedy buddies, and watch me go kill on stage. And I got this. I'll pay for everything. And about at a 24 hours of my brain, I'm like, all right, I got to get out of this. How do I
Maybe
reset?
you're overdosing. Maybe it's like binge drinking.
Yeah, maybe.
If you have a glass of wine with dinner, you don't feel like oh, get that fucking wine away from me.
That is
but if
true.
you drink like Bert Kreischer, you drink fucking boxes of wine. Bert would get on the treadmill and
don't
drink
get me
a
started.
box of
I
wine
know.
on the treadmill.
Bert suffers from the same disease Patrice had. He doesn't know how, he's so this one-of-a-kind person that everything he says and all the advice he tries to give don't work for anyone else because he's one of a kind. So he'll say, here's what you got to do. And you go, that doesn't apply to me. Do you know what I'm saying? We can't be on a treadmill drinking a box of wine and then go do a show for $200,000. We're different people.
He can keep going. I've
I
never
know.
seen anyone like him. He's a freak athlete, believe it or not.
I believe that.
Tom Segura played him in a game of tennis. And Tom got a tennis coach. They had this big tennis match. They even did it on one of those Your Mom's House live screens.
Yeah.
They made a big deal out of it. Big tennis match. Bert destroyed him.
Oh, yeah.
Drunk,
Makes total sense.
hungover,
Yeah.
giant belly, serves like a pro. He said he literally serves like a fucking Division I college player.
I didn't know that about him. Yeah,
He's
that's pretty impressive.
He goes, what the fuck?
Yeah.
He goes, his serve is insane.
That makes total sense. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm somewhat
He's like a
surprised
John
by
Daly
it, but
type.
yeah, just got it.
This episode is brought to you by The Farmer's Dog. Dogs are amazing. They're loyal. They're lovable. Just having Marshall around can make my day 10 times better. And I'm sure you love your dog just as much, and you want to do your best to help them live longer, healthier, happier lives. And a healthy life for your dog starts with healthy food, just like it does for us. There's a reason having a balanced diet is so important. So how do you know if your dog's food is as healthy and as safe as it can be? Well, Farmer's Dog gives you that peace of mind by making fresh, real food developed by board-certified nutritionists to provide all the nutrients your dog needs. And their food is human grade, which means it's made to the same quality and safety standards as human food. Very few pet foods are made to this strict standard. And let's be clear, human-grade food doesn't mean the food is fancy. It just means it's safe and healthy. It's simple, real food from people who care about what goes into your dog's body. The Farmer's Dog makes it easy to help your dog live a long, healthy life by sending you fresh food that's pre-portioned just for your dog's needs. Because every dog is different. And I'm not just talking about breeds. From their size to their personality to their health, every dog is unique. Plus, precise portions can help keep your dog at an ideal weight, which is one of the proven predictors of a long life. Look, no one, dog or human, should be eating highly processed foods for every meal. It doesn't matter how old your dog is. It's always a great time to start investing in their health and happiness. So, try the Farmer's Dog today. You can get 50% off your first box of fresh, healthy food at thefarmersdog.com/Rogan. Plus, you get free shipping. Just go to thefarmersdog.com/Rogan. Tap the banner or visit this episode's page to learn more. Offer applicable for new customers only. Yeah, he just knows how to do. He's also got this bizarre confidence that allows him to not have anxiety about trying new things.
Great for this business.
Oh, yeah. Just dives in, takes his shirt off. Woo!
Look at me. Well, I was just thinking, like, because early he went on some thing where he was gone. If someone tells you to quit drinking, don't stop drinking. Tell them to shut up. Drinking's the best thing. I go, oh, Jesus Christ. You know how many alcoholics are hearing this right now, Bert? Yeah. Like, some people should quit. Some people shouldn't. I get what he was trying to do. I get the point that he was trying to do.
Is this
but in
the
my
tennis match? Look at this.
Boom. Oh, that was beautiful.
What is he doing there? He hit it over the fence.
Yeah, but the form of that was beautiful.
What did he do here?
He aced him.
Oh, he did ace him.
Tom's flustered.
Yeah, he's really good.
Tom's just happy he didn't snap his leg here. Boom.
Yeah, look at that fucking serve. Yeah. Bro, it's got a curve to it, too.
Oh, that's great. Also, Bert looks fit here.
Well,
it's the outfit.
That's for him. For him, he's fit. You know, he loses weight. He gets way down, and then he binges up again. Oh, yeah. He gets crazy again. He lost like 60 pounds and got real fit, didn't drink for like 3 months.
Yeah.
And then he just goes crazy again.
Yeah, has a good time. Well, I love him, though. But I was just saying, like, the advice thing. Like, did you ever work with Patrice or know him good?
Yeah.
One time I'm in New York. This is the late, great Patrice O'Neill. I'm going through a thing with a girl at the time. And, you know, people ask you how you're doing. And if you're sad, I'm a pretty honest guy. I just go, oh, you know, my girlfriend's driving me crazy. She's back at, the apartment when I was in New York. She's back. It's just stressing me out. I need to get on stage, have a good time, have some drinks. I need to, like, just whatever. He goes, here's what you do, man. You're a good-looking guy. And I was like, yeah. I'm thinking I'm going to get advice from Patrice. You know, this will be great. He goes, you're a good-looking guy, man.
Bring another girl home.
Right.
Is that what he said?
He goes, I've seen the way these girls look at you around there. You find one of these bitches. You have a good time. Don't worry about what's back at the apartment. Then when the time comes, bring her back to your apartment and say, yo, this is me. This is, you got to deal with this shit. And if you ain't, and I was like, Patrice, you're my hero. I love you. Terrible advice.
Terrible advice.
You're going to get me murdered.
You're going to get murdered.
Also, that's just not the type of women I hang out with. They're not going to be fine with that.
Yeah, that's a very specific type of woman.
I couldn't
Who are already
believe
probably
it.
going to murder you.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, time's ticking on that, exactly. So
I had a friend of mine that said that he was going to, I talked my girlfriend into doing a threesome. And if I had the same exact feeling as someone saying to me, hey, I started making my own bombs.
Right, you go, don't do it.
Jesus
this is a trap.
You're going to die.
Yeah, exactly. But I think that's what you should think when you hear your heroes or Bert tell you anything. Just know their lives are different than yours.
Yeah, there's some certain one-of-a-kind people that you just got to say, like, not everybody can do that.
Yeah.
Like, Bert went and got a liver screen and cancer. Oh, he's fine.
Yeah.
He's fine.
He can do it.
He's fine.
He is a machine.
He goes and gets his health checked, and his health is fine. He's 50 years old.
Yeah.
He's still going hard. How old is Bert now? He's got to be deep into his 40s.
But Bert will be like, don't quit drinking. Have a good time. And then some guy's like, I'm hitting my wife again. Dude, this booze is...
He was probably drunk when he said that. Like, he probably got that... He probably took some time off and then had a drink, started feeling good. I want to tweet some advice.
Yeah, it was one of those things. Because I love him. And some people, and a lot of the comments were like, oh, another comedian not understanding another comedian. I was like, no, it's not that. I love Bert. If you knew our relationship, you'd get it. Like, where we're good. I just want people to know if you do have a problem, it's okay to quit. You know, you don't have
especially you as a person who quit.
Yeah, I was just saying, hey, this is a sensitive subject for some people.
It is.
Yeah.
Because, look, I have certain friends that have recovered from alcoholism. And this one buddy that I had that used to drink, he would drink and then his eyes would glaze over like a shark's.
Yeah.
Like the pupils would be gone and he wasn't there anymore. Like, oh, Bob's gone. Now this fucking drunk Bob. Drunk Bob, totally different human being.
Yeah, for sure.
He would black out all the time, not remember things. Like, you don't remember what you did? Like, you didn't remember anything?
I was that guy. I would be fun till it wasn't fun.
Dude, I think it's a genetic thing.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm guessing, but I've never had that.
Yeah.
So I've got to assume that it's a genetic. I've gotten fucked up before.
Right.
I've gotten really drunk. I've never, like, I need to get drunk. I've never been
really?
like, I need to get drunk. But I have friends that...
I have one gear, dude.
So there's a thing. Yeah.
One gear.
One gear.
If we're gonna smoke weed, I smoke all the weed, and you know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
If
we're doing coke, you're going to Tijuana.
Right? Yeah, I mean, I become King Coke guy. Why do one Viagra when I can do 6 Viagras? Like I just don't have and that's why also like it works to my benefit. The first time I said I'm gonna do stand up, I never stopped. Like I was up there, I was obsessed.
Did you ever get hit in the head real hard?
Yeah, I played a lot of like sports growing up, so yeah, I got hit. I've had 2 really serious concussions where I went to the hospital.
Yeah.
You think that's it?
Yes.
Oh, interesting.
Yes.
Yeah, I had 2 big ones where I lost.
I mean, I'm not a
week.
psychologist or a psychiatrist, but I do know that is one of the side effects of brain injury is that you lose impulse control.
Interesting. Yeah, I've got no governor. Which works good, It works good for some things. Like like I said, when I'm hanging out with a girl, like I'm best boyfriend ever. I'm king, you know. And then it's got to be extremely not.
Right.
There's kind of these extremes.
Yeah, you got to get to know someone. If you're diving in with someone for 24 hours, 48 hours, and you just met them, like the chances of you guys jiving perfectly are not that good. It's like not even 50-50. If you get lucky, you find the girl of your dreams, and then, hey, we've been together. We hung out together for 2 days in a row, and then we were married 6 months later, and we live happily ever after. That's real. That can I've met people like that.
Yeah.
It can happen, but generally,
right.
First of all, when you meet someone, you're barely meeting them. You're meeting the thing that they put on when they want someone to like them.
It's performative a little, for sure.
I always say to young guys, try to become the person you pretend to be when you're trying to get laid.
Wait, say it again. Try to
become the person that you're pretending to be when you're trying to get laid.
I like that.
You just be that person, and you never have to pretend.
I love that.
Yeah.
I believe that outside of the idea of relationships. So like I always say like, and I've probably heard this somewhere, read it somewhere, but like the idea of like you can be like your heroes.
Yes.
What do you like about the person you say you like?
Right.
They're kind. Okay, so just be kind. That's what people like,
Yes.
Or I like that guy because he's down to earth.
Yes.
So then you should try to be down to earth.
Yes.
It's very so you should be like the people, and then you can also have anti-heroes. Me and my parents have a very tumultuous relationship, and so that's a positive for me because I'm going, I don't want to be like that.
Yes.
Or that quality that I don't want to be like. And so,
for me, it was always lazy people. I had a severe disdain for lazy people, like an aggressive disdain. I'd be angry at people if they were lazy when I was a young man. It's because I was so scared of being lazy. I love that. I was so scared of being a loser that if I saw any laziness in people, I'd get angry.
Which is weird because you love pot.
Yeah, but it's
a lot of pot guys are they're happy with their laziness.
Yeah, it's not me, man.
I know, you're the opposite. You're like the most productive pothead I've ever known.
It's not to me, it doesn't slow me down. It makes me think more. And when I think more, I think about all the shit I need to get done. And I think about like how I'll feel if I don't accomplish what I want to accomplish. Like if I don't put in the work, I start freaking out.
What's your exact strand? Because that's the one everyone needs. Whatever the strand is you're doing.
I like sativas over indicas. But I don't like to get super duper high. Yeah. I know it's like drunk. It's like I like 2 drinks. Nice. 2 drinks and I go on stage. I'm the life of the party.
Yeah,
We're all friends.
Loose.
Come on, what's up? 4 drinks and I'm like, what did I just talk about 5 minutes ago? Make sure I don't repeat my jokes. Make sure I don't bring up something that I'm not sure where it goes yet. I didn't look at my notes before I went on stage. Like I can't. 4 drinks is too much.
Or you go, I'll scrap these first 4 parts of the bit and just do this joke. And you're like, why'd you scrap those? Like, I was drunk. I just jumped right to that part.
Pot makes me really consider all the things I'm not doing. It makes me call friends and check in on them.
Love that.
It makes me like way more like kind and compassionate and friendly. I want to hug people.
Mushrooms does that for me.
Same thing. Yeah.
Yeah, that one was like a life-changing thing for me.
Yeah.
Because I was like, I don't know. I'm trying to explain something scientific that I don't know nothing about. But if I had to describe how it felt like it connected things for me. Where I was like, I need to be a little bit more, I need to work on this, or I need to check in with so-and-so, or I need to let go of that. Mm-hmm. And that was all because of, I kind of came back a different guy after mushrooms.
Well, I think one of the primary things that it does is it dissolves your ego. And the ego, I think, is a giant cage that we all live in. And you can kind of see the world from outside the cage, but the ego is there protecting you from reality sometimes. The ego is there protecting you from your understanding of your own mistakes, which we all have, and some people bullshit themselves, but they keep it in the back of their head. The ego is what's doing all that for you, and it's doing that as like this little shield, this little cage that you put in that allows you to move through the world. And mushrooms just takes that down. And then you just get to see the world for what it really is and see you for where you really are. And then see like some of the behaviors that you always regret about yourself. Or you go, why am I doing that? Like, what is that? And then you can kind of see the roots of it all. And you see the cause and effect of interactions with people. I remember one time I had a psychedelic experience, and I was closing my eyes, and I saw positive thoughts as a different pattern. Like I had a negative thought, and the pattern turned like dark, and then I had a positive thought, like, oh no, don't think negative, and it went like flowered open.
Love
and
that.
These beautiful patterns, and then it was like the thing, like the mushroom was telling me that's the way to go.
Right.
That's the way to go.
That perception.
Like, yeah, you can lean into negativity if you want to. You want to be a cunt.
I love that.
There's plenty of cunts out there.
Yeah.
But there's people out there that are doing that. They're filled with anxiety. It's wrecking their life.
Dude.
It's just nice.
People
Just be
love
nice.
being wronged.
Yeah, they
It's
do.
such a treat for them to hold on to their wrong,
Victim
the things
mentality,
they've been
yeah.
wronged, and so like that's such a great way to describe that. Because really, my failures and my flaws and the things I want to work on and all that stuff are the connection. Like that's when I was able to go, man, I think I really have a problem here, and I need some help. People were excited to help me.
Right.
Because it gave them a chance to help and serve
Yeah.
and connect.
Yeah.
And so as opposed to me thinking I needed to pretend I didn't have a problem or they wouldn't be my friends, it made them so much better friends knowing like, oh, we can help them. We want
Right.
it. So, and that's just, I keep using sobriety as an example, but just in general, the connection is that. You know? 'Cause-
Connection's everything. Like real connection with people is everything. And you gotta have good people around you. Like this whole idea of being nice and being cool. Some people can't be nice. They're surrounded by assholes.
Yeah.
They're surrounded by people that are fucking with them and taking from them and ruining their life and interjecting in their life, and they're just like, oh, they have to stand up for themselves.
For sure.
But you've got to at least aspire to get into a better situation in life and surround yourself somehow. There's a way. I've done it. You've done it. Surround yourself with nice people.
100%.
It can be done.
Yeah,
It
100%.
can be done.
Find a group, find a
Yes.
friend, find a church, find a...
And also
whatever.
be that person so that you attract those people. Again, like figure it out.
I was
Figure it
describing
out.
my buddy Chris the other day, like what I think the problem is with kind of like modern times. I know that's kind of vague, but it's like I've always seen my life as like I got dealt a card of hands. You know, some of those cards real good and some of the cards not good, but that's the hand I was dealt.
Right.
And we've all been dealt some hand of cards. A lot of people bad ones, some people really good ones. We've just been dealt a hand. And I thought to myself, how can I play these cards? I didn't start bitching about the rules of poker. Like I didn't start going, "Hey, dealer, maybe we should change the whole board." Like no, all I can do is play my hand.
Right.
Yeah, and I think that like that's kind of how I'm viewing modern times, where people would rather complain about the rules of poker instead of just playing their hands the best way they could.
Well, it's outcasts for the first time get collectively as a group and then act like bullies. So they act like people have acted to them. Like the most, it's that old expression, hurt people, right? So the nastiest, meanest people online, I find, other than like white radical, white supremacist Nazis and shit, just you're talking about social issues, the meanest people are the left-wing people, for whatever reason.
Especially now.
And this is not to say there's not some cunts out there that are right-wing people. There's a ton of them.
Yeah.
But it's commonplace for people who consider themselves good, kind people to say things like punch a Nazi.
Right.
And then they get to define what a Nazi is, and it has nothing to do with a swastika, nothing to do with hating Jews.
Yeah.
You voted Republican. Oh, you're a fascist.
Right.
Okay. You tell me, first of all, what does that mean?
Yeah.
You tell me what that means. Tell me what that word, define that word. You throw that word around so often.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of definitions of that word, right wing, authoritarian government, all that stuff. But also, like, forcing people to behave and think in a certain way.
That's what they hate about religion.
Yeah. And
They
it's
claim
also,
they hate religion because religious people tell them what to think and do.
It's a religion.
And then they do a religious act of being like a liberal going, if you don't think like me, you must be bad.
100%.
Racism's their devil. And it's okay to hate the devil, and so they try to hate it.
Do you know who Mark Andreessen is? He's a brilliant venture capitalist, like super genius guy, and been on my podcast a couple times. He broke the whole woke thing down as a religion, and explained how you can get excommunicated and cast out, and people are fearful of that, so they stay inside the lines.
Yeah.
There's a doctrine they all follow.
They're using race. Because guess what? Who would want to be
It's not
friends
just
with a
race.
racist?
It's also gender. It's also like stupid shit. Like you could be non-binary. If you're a white man, you got nowhere to go. Hey, I can't even be like fucked with. Like nothing. No one's discriminating against me. You can become non-binary.
Sure.
And you're like, oh great. You can still fuck girls.
100%.
You just have to say you're a they them.
Well, for like in my for what I've like in my observation, like the left used to be really like the progressive side, the nice side, the good side. Whereas to now, like I'm like, listen to yourselves. You don't like rich people, right? You're mad at everyone wealthy. You're mad at the super wealthy. You hate gym bros. You hate frat guys. You hate straight white guys. You hate boomers. You're mad at your grandparents. You seem to not like a lot of people. For being the most accepting side.
Just completely generalizing.
Right. Also, where's our empathy?
Right.
I think if I ever met like a crazy right wing, which I never have met any of these Nazis they're talking about, but if I did meet one, I believe that I could have some empathy for them and some sympathy and go, they're just dumb.
Yeah.
They're not evil. They're just dumb.
And
they can be
misinformed.
they can be like convinced otherwise.
They're also programmed, right? It's generally they're programmed by the people around them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But where's our empathy? I watched this documentary on Netflix. It was about like the KKK, and the woman who made the documentary was like a kind of a cute Muslim girl, and she like interviewed actual white nationalists and KKK members, and she brings them into this thing. And what I learned from that documentary, what I got from it was that like, oh, they don't even really believe this. They just wanted a group. They wanted a daddy. They wanted someone to like. So they thought to themselves, I can hate black people. I mean, if they're over there, I don't ever have to confront one, and I don't ever have to be. And when we will meet a black guy, they'll go, "Well, not you. We're talking about the idea." They're not even talking about that actual person. And the girl in the documentary goes, "Well, you know that you let me in, and you've been very nice to me, and I'm a Muslim woman." And the guy's like, "Well, not you. We're talking about yeah." So it's because they just wanted a group like you,
right?
They just wanted a group like black gang members or Hispanic MS-19, whatever these groups are, whatever your little lesbian group is, whatever your baseball team is.
League.
They needed a group.
They needed a group.
And their group was like, I can hate some people I've never seen before.
Yeah, and that's why it's so dangerous, like groups like where they can get entrapped. Because the Governor Whitmer case, do you know that case? These guys conspired to kidnap the governor of Michigan. Michigan? Yeah. And there's 14 people involved. 12 of them were FBI informants.
Oh, yeah. I mean,
so you got these two dudes who just wanted to be in a group.
Yeah, that's it.
Two guys. Hey, man, we're going to kidnap them. We're going to take over the government. Fuck yeah.
That's hilarious.
Yeah,
they just wanted some shit. Yeah.
Red Riders.
I'm in. What time? I could be there.
Probably had a name for their gang. They were cool. They had a group chat. Probably felt real cool.
Yeah,
all
we're
the guys
doing
in
it.
The gang.
We're gonna make some change.
We're getting the duct tape.
Vigilantes.
Yeah. Meanwhile, these two guys thought they were cosplaying, and then they got arrested. Like, I didn't know. I didn't really plan on doing it.
I know.
It wasn't even my idea.
It's tricky. Another problem I've noticed too, like along these lines, is like, let's say we're in a group. Let's say we have some group, and then we find out one of the guys in our group did a bad thing. But we got to pay our bills, right? We got a group, and also we do have kind of camaraderie. So a bad thing groups like to do is cover up for that person.
Right.
So like, it's not like every Catholic priest. I've heard all your terrible bits at the comedy clubs about the Catholic priests from every comic I know. It's not like all the ones were fine with sexually molesting children. It's just that there were a lot that did, and the church thought, this is not going to look good for us. Let's cover this up. It happens in the military. Sometimes there's some bad guys in the military, and they instead of like they don't want people to think if you send your daughters to the military, bad things are going to happen. So they kind of internally deal with it, you know. And that's a bad thing that groups do. Is that even our own government goes, all right, let's find a way to cover that up instead of dealing with this. Because if we just deal with it, it's going to reflect poorly on the group.
What are we going to do with this Epstein client list? Is it really helping
It's
the
a
world?
big deal.
Does Mr. Gates need this kind of attention?
Exactly.
He's out there trying to cure polio. Leave him alone.
Exactly. So you start to think, let's protect the group.
Right.
And we do it in all these ways. I think that that's happened with the LGBTQ plus whatever. I think a lot of gay people are waking up and going, why did we let the trans people in this group? They're making us look terrible.
Well, lesbians are having a real problem with it because there's a lot of trans men who identify as lesbian.
Yes.
Or trans women. They say they're a lesbian, and they get on lesbian apps, and these girls are like, I'm looking for a vagina.
100%. Yeah.
What a dick.
And now they're waking up going, maybe the trans struggle was different than the gay struggle, but we've let them in the group, and now...
Well, a lot of gay guys think that the movement is homophobic because you're telling a young gay guy, no, you're a woman. You're actually
crazy.
A woman. Well, it's one of those things that you got to say, some people, it must be true because it's always been a thing. Like to have real gender dysphoria, to be in your mind, feel like a woman has always been a thing, even if you're a guy. There's more effeminate women that feel like women. So it's like that's real. But also when you encourage that and you reward people socially for that, and then you have Pride Day at kindergarten, and you're talking about like sexual orientation of people that are nowhere near puberty, which is really crazy. And then you start like having people that become trans, all of a sudden they're amazing.
Yeah.
Where they were just really mediocre before, like Bruce Jenner. Like, he was the goof of the Kardashian show. First of all, it makes no sense. No one's accomplished shit. This motherfucker was on the cover of Wheaties.
Star.
He was a star.
Yeah.
He was a fucking gold medalist in the decathlon and the goddamn Olympics.
Yeah.
He was a
national hero.
Stud.
Yeah.
He was a stud.
Yeah.
And meanwhile, he's on this show with these influencers, and he's just getting nothing.
Right.
He's just mocked.
He's like, I could be a pretty
Just
gal.
openly mocked. He becomes a woman. He's Woman of the Year in 6 months. In 6 months, he took over the fucking game.
He's a winner.
It's like a Chinese autistic kid coming into your math class and fucking up the curve.
How do they get
like,
here?
Hey,
What's going on here?
This guy's a G. He's got a 287 IQ. This is not fair.
Cheating, yeah.
He just came in and took over.
Superwoman?
Everyone loved him until he started saying he was voting for Trump.
Yeah, now they hate him. Yeah,
Which was hilarious. Like, people are saying it's okay to misgender her. This person, call him Caitlyn, call her Caitlyn, whatever, doesn't seem to care.
Right.
Like, is fine with you dead naming her or whatever. Like, this is who she is now.
Right.
She's comfortable in her own skin, 60 years old, out of the closet, the whole deal. Yay. But people are... I saw this thing online where someone was saying it's okay to misgender Caitlyn Jenner because she voted for Trump. So, okay, so transphobia is okay if someone differs with you politically?
It's crazy.
Like, what are you doing?
I know.
You're not being compassionate. You're not being kind. All these things that you said is only with total compliance are you willing to give people this grace. You must have total compliance to our ideology or you're cast out of the kingdom.
It's a leverage of power.
Even if you're a trans woman, which is like at the top of the oppression list, they're above regular
cannibals,
poor black people, poor Mexicans, like poor immigrants. Trans people's at the top of the mountain.
They're attacking their own. They're like literally like cannibalists, just going like, oh, this one but didn't fall in line.
Didn't fall in line.
Throw them out. Yeah, it's the worst. I also think it's like just a big overcorrection. I think humans are like guilty of always overcorrecting. So it's like we were racist.
Yes.
Historically. I could go on about that for hours, but like, let's say that's the idea that we're agreeing with, that historically America was racist. So now the overcorrection is anything that is racist must be, don't ever even accuse a person of color of something wrong because we have to so overcorrect, and we have to say how many black friends we have and say how cool black things are, and don't say that their hair is different because that would be a racist thing.
Right.
Or, oh, we used to be homophobic. So now, if a guy sucks a dick, let's give him a parade.
Let's put him in the White House.
Let's celebrate how... exactly.
Let's give him in charge of
it's like,
the fucking guy in the dress who's in charge of nuclear energy.
Just let him
suck dick. That was stealing women's clothes.
Yeah, just let him suck dick. We didn't need him to be in
power.
power.
That person's not exceptional just because they wear a dress.
Right.
That's crazy. That's a nutty person.
You're not virtuous. Because,
exactly.
And I think that... There's a big difference between just letting someone live their life and being kind to them in society and not treating them different and giving them all the same rights, as opposed to celebrating it.
I think you're absolutely right. It's just an extreme overcorrection. What we need to do is just let people be themselves,
right,
and figure out who that is. But what is weird is when it becomes encouraged, and so then you get like with girls in particular, they're very vulnerable. Abigail Schreier wrote a book about this, about how many girls that are on the spectrum get convinced that they're trans.
Yeah.
And then the problem is there's some states that allow you, I think if you're 15, you can go and get puberty blockers, or at the very least you can get testosterone. I know you can do that. Do you know that like Planned Parenthood is like the #1 prescriber of testosterone? See if that's true. But I think Planned Parenthood prescribes more testosterone than anybody, which is really crazy if that's true.
That's wild.
Because I think in some places they help people with gender transition. So, and if you're a girl in some states, you don't even have to be an adult. you can go to them and you don't have the permission of your parents.
Right.
And if you, I don't know who you have to consult with or what you have to do, but I've heard it's alarmingly easy.
Yeah.
And then now you're on testosterone. And one of the things that testosterone does is it alleviates anxiety. Makes you feel stronger. You feel like more alert. You're more alive. Like, this is what I was missing.
Right.
I was missing testosterone. It's like, no, you weren't.
know.
No, you weren't. That's not a natural part of your body. You just added something, and now you feel way different. But now you're going to change your voice. And if you grow out of this, and if this is just a phase, well, now you've fucked up your life, and you can't ever have children.
Right.
And there's a
It's
bunch of
big
those
deal.
ladies out there. The detransitioners, they're stuck with deep voices for their whole lives. They're stuck with masculine features. They've cut their breasts off. And
I got in
they've done
trouble
it
for
before
posting.
they're adults.
I got in trouble for posting this.
Is that true about Planned Parenthood?
Hold on.
I don't want to get sued.
Have you been sued?
No.
Anybody ever sued?
I did read it in a.
I see one article, but I don't know if this is legit.
What does it
site.
say?
Oh, it says that, but I'm trying to find out. I don't know what it's the Dallas Express. It doesn't seem like.
That's the #1 newspaper on the universe.
It's gotta
Dallas
be.
Express.
Yeah,
I always go to
everyone's
the
reading
Dallas
that.
Express. Planned Parenthood among largest suppliers of testosterone.
Right there. In the
Okay,
headline.
let's see what the numbers are. Do they say numbers?
I didn't even get it.
800
So-
visits per year to more than
the whole
2,500.
fucking the expression gender affirming care freaks me out, man.
I got in
because
trouble
it's-
for posting this. I said, if genitals don't define gender, how does removing them affirm it?
That's fucking touche.
So,
That's touche.
What are we doing? Like, if.
Yeah.
Well,
It's really crazy.
You said, like, I don't need to have a vagina to be a woman. Then why do I need to remove my penis to be a woman?
Whoa, back that up again. The number of gender affirming hormone therapy visits to Planned Parenthood tripled between 2021 and 2023, growing from 800 visits per year to more than 2,500. That's crazy. That shows you that it's a social contagion, and that's Abigail Schreier's position on it. And it's a very compassionate, kind position.
Sure.
And it's about the future of children and them making decisions when they're very impressionable. And boy, do people attack her. They removed it from bookstores. They called her transphobic just for literally talking about facts and statistics and the numbers of increase and the psychological effect, like what's going on with them psychologically, like why are they being led? Who are these? What is what is the actual odds that 9 friends all become trans? What are the odds of that? It's almost zero.
Preposterous.
It's preposterous.
Absolutely. Yeah.
But then again, it is also a real thing. Like, there's always been people that have felt like they should have been a woman. And if you're a grown adult and you want to make that decision, yeah, you do whatever you want to do.
Yeah.
I've met trans people that say they are very happy with what they've done.
Yeah.
That's great.
I guess.
But you got to know what the fuck that is. And when you're 13, you don't.
Yeah, I don't know if I'd encourage it even in an adult. I know that the correct statement for me right now would be like, just leave our kids alone. But I think that maybe I don't even want to encourage adults. We just got to pursue your own things. And I think that's beautiful. And I think that's what our country's about. But in my mind...
Find a dude who doesn't care about the dick.
Yeah, exactly.
If you're a trans woman, find a dude who actually... Find Jim Norton.
Oh, yeah, exactly. You can find a
Exactly.
Jim Norton. You could have
Find
gotten a
Jim Norton.
celebrity.
Yeah.
yeah.
I mean, that's what happened with Jim.
Yeah.
He's got a trans woman for a wife. He's
Yeah.
happy. He talks about the dick.
You know
He
what's
doesn't have a
crazy about
problem
the
with
Jim
dick.
Norton thing? Is that, like, you know, he's with these tough crowd guys. He's with all my heroes. I looked up to Jim Norton my whole life. I love Jim Norton. I'm a fan. And then they go, you know, he's married to a trans woman. And I was like, the fuck? And everyone's like, oh, you, Jeff, and your trans thing. I was like, no, if I know Jim Norton, he wouldn't have got married. That's really what I was shocked about. The institution of marriage he believes in? That's
Well,
I think Jim Norton.
That's the overcorrection. You
Yeah.
want to show this is really your wife? You're
Oh,
going to
yeah.
marry her.
Right.
Whereas all the girlfriends, all the
Yeah.
girls with their little stinky vaginas, get out of here.
Get outta here. What are you
You're
doing?
not getting
I'm not
married.
telling anyone
You
this-
can't take my last name. Fuck off.
Yeah,
I'm
exactly.
waiting for a dick.
Yeah, it's very crazy, man.
But that's the overcorrection.
But you
know?
wouldn't encourage someone, and I know that I'm going to take some hits for this, but you wouldn't encourage someone who believed that their body was fat if it wasn't healthily, you know, like with
Right.
an eating disorder. And they
I
said,
think
Joe,
Tucker
but
Carlson said that. You don't say, oh, you are fat.
yeah, Joe,
Or you
Joe,
are-
but I believe I should be, and you go, you're dying, dude.
Right. Or it's no. What he said it about was anorexics. Like you would never tell an anorexic,
Right.
oh, you are fat.
And that's real.
Right,
People
right.
are really out there believing. They look in the mirror, they're a skeleton.
Right.
But they look in the mirror and they go, I'm gross, I'm fat.
Exactly.
You wouldn't
Yeah.
encourage it.
you would never encourage that.
You would
would
treat
say, no,
it.
there's something wrong. Yeah.
Correct. You would treat it.
I think the other problem is that the whole way they do it, you can't orgasm ever again.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? And you don't really have a vagina. You have this hole right? And then you have to keep that hole dilated. You have to stick something inside it. I think it's like lip jobs. Like, don't get the early ones.
Right.
Wait till they get this down. Don't let people experiment on you by splicing your dick open like a hot dog. Wait.
Yeah.
Just hang in there.
Wait for the iPod
Wait for
6.
gene therapy. Because I firmly believe it might not be in our lifetime, but if maybe in our children or our grandchildren's lifetime, gene editing will get to a place where they will be able to turn you into whatever the fuck you want.
Right.
And it's probably going to be a nightmare because every guy's going to look like Thor and every woman's going to look like a prime Jennifer Lopez. It's like there's not going to be any variations. Everyone's going to be super hot.
Right.
You're not going to appreciate hot people.
Yeah, you will big whoop.
Yeah, because like, when a hot woman walks in a room and there's no other hot women, everybody's
That's
like,
the best.
whoa, one's here.
Look what I got.
Look at her. Oh my goodness. What does she look like naked? Right? But if everybody looks like that, it's going to be commonplace. And I think we're going to get to a place where every man's going to look like the Hulk. It's just going to be just giant dudes.
Nerds will for sure.
100%. They're going to be the first to sign up for that.
You know what's
All
interesting?
these fucking dudes that go to the coffee shop and sit there with their legs crossed like this.
No
which
working
I can't
out.
Even do. And they're fucking, their shoulders slump. They're going to look like
That's
The
so
Rock.
funny.
Just fucking raw. They're all going to be beasts.
Dude, you know what's interesting about the comic book world? All the guys who they read comics and it's Thor, right? He's got
Yeah.
shoulders like you and biceps like you.
Spider-Man,
they're reading Hulk,
the Hulk.
all these dudes that are just
Punisher.
fantastic heroes that can give us justice and beat your enemies.
Batman.
But then if they see you at the coffee shop, you go, look at this douchebag. You go, what? I look like your comic books. Like if Joe Rogan walked in, they should be going, holy shit, how does he look like that? I want to look like
But
that.
isn't it also weird that it's like the feeblest men
Oh, yeah.
that really love
Oh.
the super powerful men in these fantasy,
Yeah.
but not real life.
But they don't want to just work out to look like them.
Because that's too hard, Jeff.
But just do it. Be like your heroes.
I go in there and they pick on me.
Yeah, exactly.
Which is true, too.
They look at me weird. Yeah,
It's
that's part
so
of it.
hard if you're like scrawny and you go to a gym for the first time. It's so disheartening.
It's tough.
And there's
so
all
what?
these girls with those fucking yoga pants on. You might as well be a pile of shit to them.
Well,
there's all these big jack guys doing squats.
That's motivation, baby.
Can you spot me? Yeah, I can spot you. It's like this.
Yeah, it
and
is
you're
intimidating.
sitting there with your little fucking 10-pound dumbbells.
My arms. Yeah.
And it takes so long
And
to
guys
get
like you were
strong.
slamming weights. You
Takes
guys love to slam weights.
So long to get strong. It takes forever. So many reps. Oh, you got to keep doing it or you shrink.
Yeah. Yeah, I got to come back tomorrow. Yeah. They go, oh, I got to do this again tomorrow?
It's so hard that most people just want to dismiss it.
But it's fun.
If you could do it in a pill, you would all. I always tell to anybody, if I could give you a pill and that pill would give you more energy throughout the day, you could pick up anything, you can carry things around. You never have to worry about yourself physically.
Yeah.
You're stronger than most people you meet. You know how to fight. Wouldn't you take that pill?
Yeah.
Well, you can do that pill, stupid. It's called hard work.
Absolutely.
That's all it is.
That's so true, yeah.
That's all it is.
Yeah. And
It's
it'll
just
change everything
work
for you.
hard.
It'll change
Yeah.
everything for you.
You know how it's boring to take all those vitamins? Take the vitamins, you fucking retard.
But
Just
Joe-
open up the cabinet.
We don't know
Parse them
I've
out.
got to work at Chipotle.
Sure, you got enough protein and enough fat. Your fucking car's a race car.
But Joe, I don't have the free time. I have a family. And
Everybody has free time. You just choose to do it with other things. You choose to sit there with your fucking phone out, scrolling through
how I feel.
Instagram and checking your likes and arguing with people on Twitter.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
how I feel like. It's like you got plenty of time to
So much
go to
time.
McDonald's. You got time to.
There's
David
so much
Goggins has
time.
that great quote where he's like, he says, this guy said to me, oh, but the gym membership's too expensive. He goes, you got a motherfucking floor where you live? You got a ground where you're at? Then work out, motherfucker. And I love that kind of mentality of
Yeah.
like, you could do a whole workout right there.
All you need is a chin-up bar. That's the only, and you don't even need that. You can get those things that hang on your door. You don't
Yeah,
even have to
you
get
can
like a permanent
push-ups,
They have good
sit-ups.
chin-up bars now that like attach to your door frame and they're solid and they hold you in place. You screw them in. They're legit. And all you need is that and push-ups, bodyweight squats, sit-ups. There's a bunch of different yoga
There's
exercises
rocks
you
outside.
can do.
You can pick up a rock, free rock.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's not a cool
Yeah.
kettlebell with a monkey head on it, but you could.
Rocks.
Rocks are heavy.
Rocks are awkward.
Tree
too.
branch. I know
Sandbags.
7,000 parks by my house that have a bar that you wouldn't have to buy on Amazon. You could just go hang from it. Yeah,
Yeah, those are always good.
Yeah.
Monkey bars, those are great.
that'll do it.
That's the number one way kids break their fucking arms too.
Oh, really?
Yeah, my daughter broke her arm on a monkey bar. I broke my arm on a monkey bar.
Really? At
Yeah.
school? Like she broke it at school?
Yeah,
Or
at
was it
school.
like a
yeah.
park?
at school, and at that school, I was like, boy, that monkey bar is really high off the ground. Like, these fucking kids are 7. Like, this is crazy.
I like that, though.
And she's a little reckless.
Ninja warrior out there.
Yeah, well, that's what it is. All these kids are just trying to have fun, but they don't understand their limitations yet. That's why it's dangerous to have them in an environment like that. Because they've, but that's how you learn. Like, when we were kids, they had those domes.
Oh, yeah.
And you'd climb inside. Kids were
Perfect
always
triangles.
getting concussions.
Yeah. There's foots in it, but they fall this way, so just
their knees rip apart. Those fucking things.
What's the dome one?
Bro.
We had an actual like circular one that was little triangles.
Yeah, we had one of those too, and there was one that was like. It was like a half a circle.
Right.
It was like a dome with all these monkey bars inside of it and shit. And
that's the one I had.
That's
yeah,
it.
we had that.
Yeah.
And like there would always be like one bar missing sometimes, like on the thing. You'd be like, "What happened here?"
Sharp edges and fucking screws sticking out of it.
Yeah.
But kids always bang their head. I bang my head 100 times on those fucking things.
It also forces creativity too, because you're like, there's no iPad there. There's no like video. There's no Candy Crush. So you had to be like, all right, this is our igloo that we're gonna protect. Or
I don't know. I wonder if that's good. Everybody wants to like look back to the days when everyone was bored and say, and like romantically, yeah, when you make your own fun. I'm like, I think if I had a video game, it would have been way more fun.
Well, we had both. I had the 90s, so we had both. Like when I was a kid, we would play video games all night. But during the day, there was something fun about wrestling. Like the human part of interact. So we really were making up things with guns and just like shooting each other. And,
say the best of both worlds.
Yeah, we kind of.
But that was before online media or online.
Oh yeah,
social
we weren't
media.
online playing video games either. It was just me versus my buddy.
I think the social media thing is the craziest part of it. I think kids are just, first of all, they're weirdly connected because they all get on Snapchat and then they have a Snap map, so they know where all their friends are at any given time.
Yeah,
and so that they're constantly like paying attention to that and finding each other, and they go in groups and they go to this party and they're at this party. Let's go to that party. They see them on the maps.
They're adults. You just described adults. Those aren't even kids anymore.
They're little kids that are like traveling around with their friends with phones, and they only talk through text messages.
Yeah, that's adults.
Yeah, but
which sucks.
Fucking weird.
It sucks.
A weird new life. They still do, like kids today, they still do physical things. They just still do sports, but when we were kids, the thing about not having any other influences, especially like social media influences, you didn't really aspire to be exactly like other people. It's like there was groups of people that you gravitated towards being a jock, you gravitated towards being an artist, but you didn't try to like completely copy whatever trend is going on.
Right.
Nowadays, kids they leave their fucking stupid label on their Nikes. Like, what is that?
Yeah.
What is that? Where it's supposed to be cool to keep your fucking label on your Nike.
Yeah, the tag is like, look, it's a limited edition. It's like it's not.
I made David Lucas
a bunch
cut
of
it
those.
off.
Oh, that's hilarious.
I pulled a knife out. I go, cut that off.
Oh,
I go,
my
what are you, a
gosh.
sheep? Are you a little sheep? You got a fucking
Shocked he
tag
did
on your
that.
Nikes?
And he did. He cut
goes,
it off.
you're right. I go, I'm right.
I love
Fuck yeah,
that.
I'm right.
Yeah,
Who cares
I love
if everyone knows
Yeah,
their
it's so stupid.
white label or whatever
I
it is?
know.
What is it called?
It's called an off-white.
Yeah,
It means that
whatever.
it has that red tag on it. Yeah,
Get
stupid.
that fucking
No, you're
knife
smart.
out and
I love
cut
that
it
you
off.
did that.
Cut it off right in the green room.
That was
Cut
a
it
daddy
off.
moment for him.
I give him a knife.
You just said, hey, I'm dad here. You need to.
This is nonsense. You are not doing this.
I love
You're
that.
not gonna have a propeller on your hat.
Keep a sticker on the thing.
Take that propeller
Take
off
it
your
off.
fucking
It's
hat.
grow up.
Yeah, you don't have to have that label. When I was a kid, dudes would have labels on their hats.
I hate that.
They'd buy new hats and they'd
Leave it.
leave the tag.
Or the sticker on the bill
Yeah.
is one of my biggest pet peeves.
The sticker on the bill is stupid. Take that sticker
Take
off.
the sticker off.
Why
Like-
do you have that
like, why
shiny,
is-
stupid sticker?
Makes no sense to me.
That's dumb.
Yeah. I think that one thing that I do look backwards and think about, and this is a mushroom thought for sure. This came to me, whereas like I would say, my mom would go, why do you need these expensive shoes for school? And I didn't have the intelligence at the time to explain it to her now, but now I look back and I go, I wish I would have said, Mom, my whole social structure is based on this. Because I don't have the internet, which would later come out. I don't have these things. When, at least in the 90s and the late 80s when I was growing up, Amber Shoemaker was the hottest girl at our school. which meant Amber Shoemaker's the hottest woman in our universe. I didn't go online and go, well, Amber's not. I didn't have anyone else. That's the hottest girl.
Right.
Do you know what I'm saying? The coolest guy in our school, Anthony Medina, was the coolest guy in the world because that's our world.
Right.
Whereas kids now could go, who gives a shit about Anthony Medina?
Right.
Well, I'm following LeBron, and so like we had our own little realities. You know, so it's like I didn't give a shit about the Bulls necessarily, but if Mike Jensen from my school said the Bulls are cool, I liked the Bulls.
Right.
I didn't have anywhere to escape to. I need to do what I can, and I think even before me was probably even better than that. I think like when Cowboys roamed the earth, that might have been number one.
No.
You don't think so? Because here's why, and hear me out. Let's say we're Cowboys, right? We're on the ridge line.
Cowboys.
Yeah,
I like it.
and sun's
Yellowstone
going
type
down.
Cowboys.
Yeah, sun's going
Kinds
down.
With a house?
Say
Kind
Joe.
with a house, or they're kind?
Yeah, no, but
a
we're
real one.
We have a house, but we're now on the ridge line with our horses.
Oh, we're on the road.
A few days.
Yeah. On the trail.
I say, hey, buddy, sun's going down. Let's make a fire.
Okay.
All right, but we got to brush the horses. We got to do our shit.
Right.
We're eating our can. We see all these twinkling lights out there, and we go. We got a picture of Our Lady in our wallet. Like, oh man, I can't wait to get home to her. You know, say some dirty things about her. And then I would eat my beans, and then I'd say, I wonder what everyone's doing out there. I would just wonder.
Yeah, that is a really cute version of what it meant like to be a cowboy. Here's what it really was like. You would stay up and I would sleep because we don't want anybody raping and killing us in the middle of the night. Because the Indians have been following us for miles and we don't know they've been following us. And we're too stupid.
That would be reversed, by the way. You'd stay up and I'd
We're too stupid to cold camp. Okay, so we started a fire, which makes you really easy to spot. And they just wait until that fire starts getting dim and they hear snoring and they come in and they cut you up and they fuck you and they do whatever they want.
No, you're supposed to stay awake and slaughter them.
It's only two of us.
That's
There's
true,
like 7 or 8 of them, and you know, back in the musket days, there's a lot of reloading time.
That's true. I get one of them. Yeah.
That's why the Comanches dominated this area because they were using single shot guns.
But Joe, that's racist. They were just sitting here peacefully.
The Comanches, they would not. The Comanches had multiple arrows on their fingers, so they'd keep like 4 or 5 arrows, and they would shoot one, and then shoot another one, and shoot another one. They were just fucking these dudes up.
I bet it.
The only thing that saved this entire state, the only reason why people were able to conquer was the Colt pistol.
Right.
When they figured out how to make a pistol with like a chamber, it was Colt, right? Wasn't it? I think so. Yeah. I think it was Colt. So they developed the believe this or not, at the time the military didn't want.
Really?
They're like, what are we doing with these 6 shots? We got 1 shot.
Really?
Good enough. Yeah.
I didn't know
the
that.
guy couldn't sell them.
That's ridiculous.
He sold them to the Texas Rangers.
Oh, that's amazing.
Jack Smith, that guy who's out in the hallway, that photograph, that's why he's there. That's the original Texas Ranger. That
Why
guy
wouldn't they want more bullets quicker, accessibly? Like that's
because it's the government. They've always been retarded.
Yeah, that's ridiculous.
They were even retarded in the 1800s.
More bullets.
So this was a novel invention.
Yeah.
This guy figured out a revolver, and it was like you had to take the cylinder out, and put a new cylinder in. But every time you did, you got 5 or 6. Was it 6 shots or 5? So it was the first time ever you could fire multiple times. Then just start fucking up these Indians.
Yeah,
and they started
that
taking
was
over.
protection. Yeah, for sure. That's great.
But it's these guys that like they dressed like Indians. They fucking infiltrated. They cold camped. They would go deep into like uncharted territories.
Those were probably just bad guys pretending to be Indians to make the Indians look bad.
Oh no! They were bad guys. But they were bad guys to go after the Indians.
Yeah,
they were bad guys.
No, but what I was saying,
so were the fucking Indians.
Oh, for sure.
They were bad to each other.
Exactly. They were also. That's why I always get so mad about the debate about like, well, you came here, like white people came here and did bad. It's like, dude, you think that they weren't all fighting for land here?
They
were
weren't
all
just fighting. They didn't ever surrender.
Yeah, there was lots of tribes.
If they surrendered, they were tortured and murdered. Like the Comanches used to chop dudes' arms off and legs off, and then throw them while they're still alive on a roaring fire. And watch them squirm around.
Yeah.
It was fun. They were having a good time.
I meant mentally earlier for my early analogy of the cute cowboy stuff. No. What I was saying is that mentally we didn't compare.
It was dangerous.
I know.
Dude.
I believe. I hear you.
All that home on the range shit is straight up horse shit.
What I mean is they didn't compare.
Oh, right, because they were. You hear that sound?
You had too many real things.
Someone's raping an Indian lady.
Right.
You hear that? You hear gunshots and children
you
screaming.
You wouldn't think, oh, so what that Jeff dies with me? So what that he's funny? He's no Dave Chappelle. You didn't compare.
But they did, like Billy the Kid. Like people became famous. They became infamous. These people that everybody wanted to be like Billy the Kid.
Well, that was one guy that we tried to be like. Right now, I'd go, big deal, Billy the Kid. There's a guy in Japan that can shoot 70. Like, the phone makes you have 7 million.
That's
you don't
true.
even appreciate your wife learning guitar because you go, she's no Bob Dylan. You know, who gives a shit? So that's what I was trying to say.
Really shitty husband. That guy's a dad.
That guy's mean. But he's
You're
thinking
not even
that.
Eric Clapton,
He's thinking
bitch.
that.
What the fuck? She just started.
Give her a break, dude.
Yeah.
I meant mentally, we didn't compare.
I think we are not designed for it, but I think kids will be. I think the human mind is going to adapt to technology and interacting with each other. And I think socially people are adapting to interacting with each other. You know, like the way kids like go after each other online, like they're adapted to it. It's normalized to them. Just like, you know, if you live in a war-torn part of the world, seeing dead people, it normalizes to you.
Sure.
And I think kids are normalizing to electronics. And people want to resist that, and they want to say, oh, I don't let my kids use electronics. I'm like, it's a part of the world. I use it. It's a part of the world. It's not a barrier to being a good person. It's not a barrier to living a happy, healthy life.
Yeah.
Just like alcohol is not a barrier. For some people, it is.
Right.
Some people have a real fucking problem with social media, and you see it. A lot of comics, especially the unsuccessful ones, when they start falling apart when they get older, it just exacerbates their mental illness. And then it becomes all politics.
Yeah.
These guys used to talk about farts and getting their dick sucked. Now it's all politics. And it's all like life hangs on every decision.
Yeah.
And we're doomed if this takes place. Doomed.
You know what comedian dude does that is Kathy Griffin. That guy does a lot of that. Oh, you know what I mean?
You just
that guy,
misgendered.
that guy's unhinged. You go on there, it's all day, just some doom and gloom.
What do you think? Do you think that that's because like that's how they find meaning in an otherwise meaningless existence? Like, what is it about it, people where their entire life becomes completely wrapped around politics to the point where they're tweeting about it literally all day long and saying these things that they think are profound about all kinds of different issues?
I think it's got to be some sort of virtue signaling. Well, like it's their way to go, look at how good I am.
It's also a way to show that you're relevant.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you're talking about the things that people care about right now, and you're chiming in and saying the things that need to be said. You're being heard.
Yeah.
You know, there's a lot of like weird, there's a lot of just, they want attention. There's a narcissism to a lot of it. But then there's also people that are capable of going online and having interesting discussions with people they don't know. And if you can manage that, you can actually get a lot out of like Twitter and X and all these different ways. You can get a lot out of it. You can get a lot, but it's so hard to do.
I know.
Because it's like it's like you're deciphering smoke signals. It's like the person's not even in front of you. You know, like you're getting these weird interactions with people. There's a lot of like, what does this guy mean by that? Is he being shitty? Is he just being honest? Like, what is this?
Yeah, it's very tough to translate their...
It's a sucky way to communicate.
What are they doing? Like what is that? Were they trying to be funny right there?
Yeah.
Were they trying... Yeah, it's very tricky.
Well, I'm very lucky in that I get to talk to so many interesting people. So I don't need to have as many interesting conversations online with people.
Yeah, and also you're a comedian. My favorite thing about being a comedian is I get heard a lot.
Yeah.
We get to be heard.
That
Even
helps.
when I'm wrong, I get to be heard. So like,
you can be wrong and still funny.
Yeah, that's the beauty of it.
That was Patrice's whole act.
yeah, 100%. I'm often sometimes wrong, and it's just so funny. They go, hell yeah, like I like this guy.
It's funny. And also this part of being wrong on purpose. Like I say things that I know is wrong on purpose because it's funny. It's funny to say.
You're going for the laugh.
Yeah, I'm
first.
just trying to be silly. I'm trying to be silly. That's what I like. That's the kind of comedy I like.
Right.
So I'm going to do that, and you can like it or you don't like it.
100%.
What infuriates me is when people try to take jokes or talking shit and just conflate it and pretend that it's a statement.
I know.
Like it
drives me
crazy.
crazy.
Do you not have any friends?
I know.
Do you not have any friends?
You don't joke? Yeah, exactly. You don't pretend.
You
You
don't
wonder why
say
all these
outrageous
comics want to
shit?
go to the right. It's because freedom of speech is a pretty big deal to us.
Yeah.
Naturally, it's a pretty big deal that we can say whatever we want. Because here's the thing, racism is bad.
Yeah.
But it is kind of funny sometimes.
It's very funny.
Marxism
when it's
is
about white
bad,
people.
but it's pretty funny sometimes.
Sometimes.
Yeah.
If it's well made.
Yeah, it's funny. If it's funny enough.
Good meme, a solid meme.
Great. Love it. Yeah, exactly.
Things are funny.
And people go, well, that's racist. You go, well, and it's racial, and it's
Yeah.
funny, but don't just assume that it's this
It makes
blanketly
hate.
bad thing. Yeah, it's such a silly...
Like, it's funny no matter who gets it.
Right.
It's funny if white guys get it. It's funny if white women get it.
Right.
It's funny if Indian guys get it.
Yeah.
Things are funny when people get it. When they get them jokes, it's funny.
And they don't care about the racial stuff when it's like a comic of any other race doing it.
Right.
You're like,
Of
if you're
course.
going to use that same measuring stick, go to the Laugh Factory. You could cancel all 12 comedians that are on stage making easy racial remarks. But they're like, but he's
Right.
Persian. I know, but it's still a racial
Yeah.
remark, you know?
Especially if you're cracking on white people. You could crack on
know.
white people as hard as you want
Yeah.
right now. It's great.
Which is so vague, too. I don't know if this is a smart idea or not, but it's just something I always think is like, it's so vague. These shitty comics like Hari Kondabolu are like, white people, white people. What white people?
Which ones?
French? Canadian? Do Jews count? Croatian? What a great lump you've done. All white? You know how many countries that covers? And then you go, well, that's why we're saying it, because we don't mean a specific country. We're talking about a... But then, so then that's racist. You go, well, white's not a race. It's just it's a color of the... Well, then how come black is a race? Because black would be Haiti. It would be tons of parts of Africa. It would, you know, so... I guess my point is like then it's not racist when I say black. If it's not racist when you say white, because you're over glomming a big thing.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. Also, how much do white people vary?
There's so many white people.
They vary so much.
It's so vague.
To just say white men, like,
Oh, you must be rich because
God.
you're white. You're like, do you know how many poor white people there are?
Go to Kentucky.
Most of them are poor.
Yeah, go to where the fucking coal mines are.
Right.
Those coal mining communities where people have just been popping pills
Yeah.
since the 80s.
Meth?
Yeah.
You never heard of white
You ever
trash?
see-
Like, we dominate the poor community.
Have you ever seen the wild and wonderful whites of West Virginia?
Yeah, dude. Jessica White.
Fucking
Those dancing skills?
amazing. Didn't Johnny Knoxville produce that?
That's how I saw it. Was
Yeah.
I don't know if it's Johnny Knoxville, but Jackhole Productions or whatever
Yeah,
it was.
I think
Yeah.
Knoxville made that. It's fucking incredible.
Oh, amazing.
But that's white people too.
Yeah.
Okay, these poor white people they're just victims of their environment, man.
They're teaching college kids that, like, if you're a straight white guy, they just hand you suitcases full of money and that you have no troubles and the cops don't target you. It's like, cops...
Did you see what Trump said today? I'll send this to you, Jamie, because this is wild. This is a wild move. I'll send this to you, Jamie. It is what he said about colleges.
I love it.
And DEI endowments.
I love it.
I'll send this to you, Jamie. He's doing so much crazy shit because he only has one term, you know? Like, all the different things that he said so far about completely banning all of these gender transition
Yeah,
clinics for
it's great.
kids, hormone therapies for
It's
kids, puberty blockers for kids. Like, stop that. And, you know, and he even called them out for the expression gender affirming care.
Yeah.
That's a crazy, like a literal dystopian euphemism
Right.
for what you're doing.
And he said Marxist multiple times.
Yeah.
And people are going to go, they're not Marxists. Do you know BLM self-proclaimed themselves as Marxists?
Yeah.
So you can find hundreds of times where they say, we are Marxists.
Yeah.
So before anybody comments, well, they're not really, they've called themselves
The founders,
Marxists.
yeah.
Yes.
I think a lot of people like blanketly support that just because it seems like a smart idea. Yeah, Black Lives Matter. Of course they do. Yeah, there's cops that have killed people. We've seen it. Okay, yeah, it's definitely good to support that.
Sure.
But then you find out all the other stuff behind it, and then you find out that the people that were running it were fucking buying real estate.
Do a little homework.
Buying
They
millions
gave all
of
your
dollars
money
in
to
houses.
trans people. They didn't help the black community at all.
Is not only going to tax but confiscate endowments of every university the Department of Justice finds has engaged in illegal discrimination under the guise of equity, which is basically every university in the country, but is especially true with the Ivy League, which is, if this happens, will die. They will crush. Okay, but this is. You know who suffers the most from this discrimination? Is Asian people. Do you know why? Because
No.
Asian people score so high and they work so hard, they make it more difficult for them to get it. They have to have higher grades and they have to have a higher score. They score them based on like social interactions,
Which is
or certain
crazy.
things. If you're studying 18 hours a day, like a lot of these Asian
I'm gonna
kids do,
win.
yeah, well, it's their culture. Their culture is this like nose to the grindstone,
Discipline.
hard work, discipline culture. I had a buddy of mine.
And no one in America is mad at them for succeeding. We
Exactly.
encourage it. It's good.
I had a buddy of mine that was a national Taekwondo champion while he was going through his medical residency.
Mm-hmm.
He was Korean, and no matter what he did, this guy won the nationals. He was the national Taekwondo champion, and he wasn't like talented either. It wasn't like he was
Hard work.
It was 100% hard work.
Yeah.
And this fucking guy like would work all day long at school, and then put his books in his backpack and walk upstairs to get a workout in.
I love it.
He would just do flights of stairs over and over again while he was at school because he had to do something, and then go back to school. Won the fucking nationals like that.
And that's
Like,
beautiful.
It's this kind of crazy work ethic that some Asian households instill in their children.
Yep.
And it's tough to compete with them. So what they've done is there's been lawsuits about it. I believe Harvard was sued, right? Was Harvard sued that they were discriminating against Asian Americans? So they have like ways that what they're saying is what they were complaining was that there's ways that they have that like accentuate certain attributes, like that let you get in, like social things that you do, different things that you do that give you extra points that they felt like was designed just to keep less Asian people in, to like
Crazy.
to push some of them out because so many of them were getting in there and dominating.
Yeah.
Dominating the fucking
Yeah,
move.
but that's great.
Yes, well, listen, man. If you come
The
from
best
a
of the
fucking
best.
a hardworking household and you develop that work ethic, you might not be happy. That's part of the problem. A
Yeah,
lot of
well,
those
I
dudes
like
are
that they
super
complain about
depressed.
their tiger moms, and you're like, dude, they made you successful.
Right. You got to figure out how to be happy.
Right. That's up for you to do.
This is it. The lawsuit, a threat to what happened? An organization created by anti-race conscious admissions activist Edward Blum, citing itself Students for Fair Admissions, sued Harvard, alleging that the university discriminates against Asian Americans and seeking to prevent Harvard College and other colleges and universities from using a wide-ranging and thorough admissions process that considers the whole person.
Love that.
Interesting. So that's interesting though, because on paper that sounds like a good thing. A wide-ranging and thorough admissions process that considers the whole person. Like if you want to educate a child, right? You want a kid to go from being a young teenager to being an adult, and you're educating them. There is a social aspect to it, right? Like you don't want to develop like complete sociopaths that just go to work, but you can't like stop that option. Like people want a quality of outcome. It's a very important point, but there's not a quality of effort. There just isn't. And in the mad dog race of life, you're occasionally going to get a Michael Jordan. You're going to get a guy who works harder than everybody, and he's gifted, and he's going to exceed. He's going to pass you all, and there's nothing you can do about it. Nothing you do about Mike Tyson when he was 22 years old. Get the fuck out of the way.
best.
Pick up tennis.
Yeah.
Like, he's going to kill you.
Yeah.
He's going to kill you.
You want to be number 2, maybe?
Yeah. If you want to be number 2, you're eventually going to get to have fight number 1,
Yeah.
and that's not going to be a lot of
It's
fun.
gonna be hurt.
So, the world's not fair.
Yeah.
Right? And that guy, when you saw the way he trained when he was a young man, he trained like a person possessed.
Yep.
He lived it. He watched
hard work.
film all day.
Yeah.
He was obsessed with fighting.
That's all he had.
And talented and gifted. So if you have those things all together, the world is not fair.
Yeah.
And you can't make it fair with laws, and you
Right.
can't make it fair with rules, and it doesn't make you any better to suppress someone in some sort of a way
Yeah.
by diminishing their success. And that includes someone who's a fucking complete psychopath who studies 18 hours a day
Yes.
and dominates and starts a business when they're 19 and becomes
Right.
a billionaire by the time they're 26, and then all of a sudden, buys Twitter from Elon Musk. You can't stop that.
Ask one of these crazy people who doesn't understand these kind of things or has never even thought of it.
Yeah.
Say, I noticed you're watching the WNBA game. Do you think it's unfair that Brittany Griner makes more than her teammates? And they'll go, no, she's the best.
Right.
Right.
That's the
Just
thing.
like anyone
Elon
else
Musk
that's
is
the
the
best,
best. Yeah.
makes more money. How can you understand that Brittany Griner makes more than her teammates, but you can't understand that the NBA generates more money and is better, makes more than the WNBA.
Right.
How can you inbrain?
Well, what people get scared of is the amount of control and power that you have with that kind of money. And then some people want to make decisions for all of us, like Bill Gates. Like one of the wackiest ones, he's talking about like blocking the sun, putting particles in the sky to block the sun to cool the earth. Like, hey, fuckhead, there's a whole lot of people on Earth. You don't get to say for all of us. You don't get to talk for all of us just because you have $100 billion. That's crazy talk.
Right.
That's what people are scared of. What people are scared of is that when you really do have ultimate money and ultimate power, with most people, there's this desire to control people. It's part of the gig. And some of them, when they decide they don't want to go into politics, they start like influencing things behind the scenes. They start donating. They have funds. They have a giant fund, and their fund donates to all these different organizations. And in Bill Gates' case, it prevented them from criticizing him because the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, they donate all this money to these media corporations and all these companies. Look at all the money we've given you to help global health and whatever the fuck it is. But what it really does is it buys off people from criticizing
100%.
you. And then you start doing wild shit like telling everybody they should eat plant-based food and fucking buy
whatever
all the
they want you to do.
and you start controlling people. Just like people like to pull strings on people. The George Soroses of the world
scares me
like
so
to
much.
Get DAs elected and then put an even more progressive DA to go in after him and see if you can fuck with things by letting people out of jail and defunding the cops. And it's like they're playing these weird Monopoly games with the whhole world.
You know where you saw it? Like a great example was when Barack Obama got into office. Michelle Obama's whole thing was like nutrition. Like that was what she was gonna like really like work on. And dude, it was almost like after 2 weeks, someone brought her in the back. It's like, listen, bitch. Yeah, we hear what you're saying about the food industry. I don't know if you know how much bread we're putting in your husband's pockets. And then she immediately was like, maybe fitness. Maybe your kids could run around 10 minutes a day. How about that? Is that better?
She gave up the food
Gave
stuff?
up the food stuff. It just was immediately.
What is that, Jamie?
Didn't have it muted. Just
Is that the same thing?
no, I didn't have it muted. It wasn't supposed to play it.
Oh, sorry.
But then it was like all the focus went towards, hey, just 10 minutes a day, have your kids go outside and play. It was all the food stuff gone.
Wow.
Yeah, and you realize, oh, there are other things. You know, there's like all these other things that are at
It's
play.
not just other things. It's
Money.
billions and billions of dollars.
Yeah.
When you're that far ahead of the game, you know, if you're playing a game and you cannot beat the game. There's no way to beat it. You're on level 1. There's a million levels. The people that have been playing it, that you're playing against, they've been playing for 30 years. They have all the armor.
Oh, yeah.
They got all the magic spells. You're not going to win that game. And that is what people are really scared about with people who have a lot of money, is that they don't just have a boat, they don't just have a house, but then they start influencing what people can and can't do. Then they start funding studies to talk about particular types of energy because they've got an enormous amount of money invested in this green renewable energy or whatever it is. But what it really is money. They're not ever doing anything for you, ever. Whether it's climate change or whatever whether it's energy, it's always money. And they'll flavor it with, it's for you, it's for us.
Right.
We have to worry about the environment. We have to Didn't Al Gore become the first guy to make $1 billion off of climate change?
I know he's definitely the face of it for a long time.
But I read that Al Gore, it could be bullshit, but I read that Al Gore was the first climate change billionaire.
Interesting.
And the things that he invested in that movie that he put out that scared the fuck out of me.
Oh, yeah, we're all like, we got to do something. Yeah, I saw that.
By the way, not a single thing. Not a single thing was accurate, not even close.
Yeah.
Not
Might as well have been made
even
by Michael
close.
Moore. It might as well have just been.
Michael Moore is more accurate. He was, at least back in the day.
Yeah.
You watch Roger and Me. Michael Moore in the early days made some great films.
Well, like I think a lot of it was just bull crap.
Well, not the first one, not Roger.
Remember when he like he did a scene where like these kids go into a bank and they buy a gun over the counter from the bank, and I was like,
what?
Yeah, it was of his gun one, Bowling for Columbine or whatever.
Right.
And I remember seeing that scene as like I worked at Hollywood Video at the time, and I was like, this is terrifying. We got to get rid of these guns. And then I looked into it years later when the internet kind of grew, and I was like, oh, that was all total bullshit. It was like
so
made
he
up
just
scene.
Made up a scene.
Yeah, that's why we weren't even allowed at Hollywood Video to keep Michael Moore's movies in the documentary section. We weren't even allowed to keep it in that section.
Really?
Because it's not counted as a documentary.
Oh, see, it didn't used to be like that. I gotta
We
be
believed it.
honest. I don't think I watched Bowling for Columbine. I might have. It was so long ago. But I do remember Roger and me being very impactful because it was about the auto industry moving out of Flint, Michigan.
Oh, yeah.
And about how the town collapsed.
Sad. It happens in Pittsburgh. I was just in Pittsburgh, and you see all these abandoned warehouses where Americans used to work.
Yeah.
And you go, oh, wasn't it better with Chinese slaves making you $300 sneakers? Like, no, it's not better.
It's not better.
It's not better at all.
It's not better for anybody.
Yeah.
It's crazy what they did, and they just did it for money. They did it for money.
Yeah.
They shipped over things overseas because they can get people to work for nothing, which is so crazy.
I know.
That you can't do it here, but you do it there.
That's wild.
I was talking to this person who ran a plant in Mexico. We were getting a little tipsy, and I didn't like that
What he
they
was
were
saying?
justifying this procedure of doing that. And they were trying to tell me that these people would starve to death if it wasn't for that plant. I go, those people have been there for thousands of years.
Yeah.
I go, and you know why they don't have any money? Probably because we bribed their government
Right.
and we gave them loans they couldn't pay off, and then we took all their resources, and then we moved plants over there.
And
Like,
the pollution
Yeah.
of the plants is like just insane too.
And then
Like they
we
live
can-
in fog-filled cities.
we can go back to the entire area is run by the cartel
Mm-hmm.
because we have drugs illegal in this country unless they're prescribed.
Yeah.
And then you have the Sackler
No
family
one's worried
that
about
makes
that
billions
slavery.
of dollars. Like, what about all this?
Nobody's worried about that
Yeah.
slavery.
This is all
Everyone wants to
this.
talk about slavery that we abolished in this country.
Right.
Everyone wants to talk about that slavery.
But not a slave that
But
made your
not
phone.
the current slavery that made this,
Yeah.
or my shoes, or
Yeah.
all the things you wear,
Yeah.
or how about the sex trafficking? How about the women that are slaves right now?
Well, how about the
Let's
amount
get to
of them
work on
have
that.
probably been smuggled across the
Yes.
border? We don't even know what those numbers are.
If I put together enough money, right? I'm not super rich, but I've got some money. If I put together, like, my life mission was to fix that, they'd just kill me in a month. They'd go, hey,
You have no chance.
what are you doing, dude? Tell jokes and talk about baseball. Why are you trying to help in something that matters?
Yeah, imagine trying to shut down the cartel
Oh,
and you live in a normal house.
I'd make it a week. We wouldn't let you go. What happened to Jeff?
That's $1 billion a month business.
You're right.
What the fuck are you talking about? They're
wild.
not going to let you get away with that.
No
They're gonna
way,
kill
dude.
you.
Yeah.
They kill everybody.
Yeah,
Why wouldn't
yeah.
they kill you? So you've got all these problems, and then shipping these factories to these other places. It doesn't keep people from starving to death. It's just we were doing an unethical thing. Like, you can't do it on this patch of dirt, but if you just move it to that patch of
Right.
dirt, now you can do unethical things.
Now it's fine.
This
Yeah.
is crazy.
What is this, a casino cruise
Right.
ship?
Well, not only that, like, now that we know, so they did that back then when there was no internet. You sneak it across the border. Nobody, I'm still buying. Look, my car is $5 cheaper.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
you don't care.
Yeah.
And so everybody, you hear some stories about Michigan. If you don't live there, whatever. I'm over here in L.A. I
Right.
don't give a fuck.
Exactly.
I got a nice car, but your car's made in Mexico, and it's like
Right.
we don't even realize like what the impact of that was. But now that we have the internet, now you can see it, and we still do it.
Right.
Like it's like it's grandfathered in that you buy your phone from a company that uses slaves.
100%.
And the factories literally have nets around them to
Right.
keep people from jumping off. And we're like, okay.
And also, I'm not pretending I'm better than anyone else, right?
Right.
Like, I promise that. But I don't yammer on my social media about slavery all day.
Right.
I'm aware that I'm in this system or this network. It's just so hypocritical when I hear, like, LeBron talk about slavery that happened in our country over 100 years ago while he's dripping in Nike. How dumb can you be to pretend to care about slavery while you're making $1 billion or something from Nike?
Don't
over
you think that if you're a person that is in mainstream world acceptance, whether you're a sports star or any kind of media personality, there's like certain things you feel obligated to call out and to talk about?
I would think so. I only know
Some people
how I
do.
would behave, and I just think there's honest money and then there's dishonest money, and I've never had the stomach for.
You mean like the money they paid the people to endorse Kamala Harris?
Oh, yeah, that's
Is that what you're
pretty
talking about?
dishonest money right
That's
there.
so
Cardi
wild.
B, Beyonce.
Did you know that was even
fucking
legal?
Fools.
Did you know that was even legal?
It shouldn't be legal. The View keeps yammering about how Elon Musk shouldn't be allowed. Or I saw a video yesterday about you. Oh,
What
the
did I
Joe
do?
Rogans of the world are influencing. You like,
Oh, that's that feminist guy.
yeah, and like they're so
he tried
mad.
to say that there's this multi-billion-dollar right-wing ecosystem that's been developed, just like a terrorist network
Yeah.
that radicalizes young people. Like, what? By talking to scientists?
By telling them
Like,
to be good guys, to tell them to be honorable to their partner.
radicalizes.
That's not radical.
Radicalizes.
Also, let me ask you, on air for this podcast, how much money did Donald Trump give you to endorse him?
$100 million.
No, he
No,
didn't.
he gave me nothing.
Gave you zero, Joe.
Gave me nothing.
He gave you zero because
No.
you thought, I think that this is what's best for the country,
Exactly.
given the two options.
I know. I knew the resistance that it would face, but
How
I
much
think
did
it's true.
Beyonce get?
She got $10 million.
$10 million.
But hold on. She talked for like 3 minutes. That's good.
What do you mean that's good?
I mean, that's enough.
That's too much.
No, it's plenty. It's perfect.
$10
It's a
million.
good deal. It's a good deal, the taxpayers' money. I mean, it's a good deal. All these people that are like donating money to the Democratic Party, and they're
It went
$20
to
million in
Beyonce.
debt.
You
Here's the crazy thing.
mutants.
They're $20 million. They spent $1 billion. They're $20 million in debt, and Trump offered to pay their debt. He's like, we have a lot of money left over because most of our media
want
was,
too
he called
good.
it earned media. I had to look it up. So earned media
Yeah.
is essentially whenever he's in the news.
Yeah.
Or when he's getting interviewed on shows or on podcasts.
Yeah.
That's earned media, and that's what he did.
Well, I just love. People go, "Why are you getting so passionate about this, Jeff?" It's like it's right in front of your eyes.
Right.
If you have to pay someone $10 million to endorse A, but then like B is doing it for free because they believe in that like idea. Which one seems more nefarious?
Bro, Eminem took 1.8
1.8.
Is that real?
How do we know that's true?
because I said it.
None
And
of
I
it.
read it on the internet.
I
Fuck
have
is
not
wrong with
found
you?
any evidence that supports this stuff.
I think it's
including
all legit.
some of them being asked and said I was not paid.
But wait a minute. Oprah was paid. There was an FEC thing.
Her company was paid to host an event.
Okay. They paid her company $1 million, dude.
I'm just saying that's
Right,
I don't
right,
know
right,
what
right.
happened and where they
Right,
hosted it, and how many people were
right.
involved. I'm just she was not
$1
paid. Her company
million
was paid.
What did she do that hosted an event? Did she put
Can't-
together an
says-
event, like cater an event?
Campaign finance. I'll try to put it on the screen. Show that they paid Harpo Productions for event production. It was paid for post live stream an event, which I don't know how much that cost.
Production
It cost some money.
costs of a live stream event. That could be money.
Said she was not paid a personal fee for the event. She said I was paid nothing.
Right, but she didn't donate her company to do this. She got paid for it.
That's right.
Right.
I don't know. Like, yeah,
So
if
this
they
is where
did-
I
they
got
put
it.
Out,
So
they-
she got a gig is essentially what it is. She
Yeah.
got $1 million gig.
$5 million to Megan Thee Stallion, $3 million to Lizzo, 1.8 for Eminem,
I know that's in this article, but it doesn't show like where.
and $1 million for Oprah.
That could be made up.
Okay.
Yeah, it says an Instagram list.
Well, I
posted all
didn't
that.
make it up, but that's what I
love
read.
it.
So yeah.
I
trying
want
to
it to
say.
be
Okay,
real.
yeah, no problem.
I want it to be real.
Yeah. Well, if it makes me believe in our Earth better if they didn't. If they just did
No,
it
no,
for
no.
free.
It makes me believe in the Earth better if they did it, because I don't want to think that Eminem really believed that shit.
Yeah, exactly.
I
Well,
wouldn't
it's
think he went
always
out there
naughty
for-
people that
I
do
wouldn't
this.
think you went out there for 1.8.
It just says that there's
There's no
records.
federal
Doesn't
records
mean it didn't
showing
happen.
campaign payments
Right.
to Eminem or Megan Thee Stallion. So when it says mostly false, like where did that rumor emanate from?
Someone put it on Instagram, and it goes around. People run wild with it because it sounds fun.
Damn. I thought it was fun.
Yeah, it is fun.
Are
If
we
I'm wrong,
absolute-
I'm willing to,
Again,
I read it and
there's
my
just-
blood boiled.
Yeah,
I was
I
like,
go-
what is going on?
The Beyonce one is crazy.
There's no evidence that it's true. It might be true. Doesn't mean it's not. Just no current evidence
No current
as of
evidence.
today.
It says
Okay.
mostly false, but this is PolitiFact.
Yeah, it could be a rumor that got spread.
PolitiFact is sketch.
Okay. Well, if it's not true, then it's not true.
Let's
Let me tell you, if
find
it is
out
true,
is
that's
that legal?
crazy.
Is that legal? Is it legal to pay Beyonce $10 million to talk at a political rally?
I don't think so. There's all these like little companies.
Why would they pay her that much? That seems crazy. That
Wait,
does seem crazy.
Desperate times.
Yeah, but she doesn't need the money. She does
No,
not,
I'm saying
she's a-
desperate times for the campaign
Right,
trail,
but-
and then they go, I was going to endorse her anyways. I'll just do it for, a little fee. My time is worth money. My private plane costs money. Can you cover that,
Well, it seems suspicious. Because when someone's got that kind of money to do something that people are going to look down upon if they find out if it's true,
Yeah.
that's what makes me skeptical. Because like someone who has that kind of money, for her, $10 million, it sounds crazy to say this, but I believe that for Beyonce and Jay-Z, $10 million is not noticeable. It's not going to change their life at all.
It won't change your life, but you still notice. Like,
I think they're billionaires, dude.
Beyonce's got almost $1 billion.
Yeah, and I think he has $1 billion as well.
Interesting.
I don't think they're going to notice. So that's like not going to change your lifestyle.
But it
even
could get you out
slightly.
of your house to go do a thing that puts you in the news.
Is that what you want?
Well, think about the Super Bowl. All those people that perform the Super Bowl halftime get paid $0.
Right, but it's
Why
a
do they do it?
tremendous advertisement.
'Cause they
for-
do it.
But they perform. She wasn't even performing. She
Yeah.
was just talking. I mean, maybe $10 million is $10 million. You can't help it, even if you got $2 billion in the bank. But part of me is like, maybe I'm just looking at how I would look at it. Like, I wouldn't do shit.
Yeah.
I don't do nothing.
Well, I always think, and this may be my naivety to like rich people, is that like they don't have to be bought anymore because they're rich. Like you'd think that. That's how I think about it. Is that like I wouldn't do anything against. It's easier to do things against my moral compass when I was broke.
Right.
You'd say, Jeff, we'll give you $500. Go steal this thing, because I'd be like, I need $500. Whereas like now I can be a little more generous with my money. I can be a little more ethical because I'm in a place where I don't have to worry about the $500 isn't worth breaking some ethical code for me.
Right, but money isn't your existence. For some people, money is a sum score of how well they're doing in life, and they get addicted to numbers. They get addicted to this idea of
It's
constantly,
growing.
yeah, and they compare themselves to all the other people.
This is from Fox News. They have Washington Examiner reporting that money was spent in ways, I guess you could argue, maybe.
Well, they spent six
finagled.
figures building the set for Call Her Daddy, but that seems that people are saying that's outrageous, but that's not that outrageous. $100,000, you build a set, you have to lease a building, you have to bring in cameras and all that shit. I could see that being $100,000. Campaign spent at least $15 million on event production, FEC records show, with many payments lining up with high-profile events and concerts with celebrity attendees or performers.
And that's how you do it, because it's a performance.
Right. So you pay them
so you
for
can pay them to
performing.
perform. That's the
Right.
difference.
That's the difference. The truth is just an epic disaster. This is a $1 billion disaster. Lindy Lee, Harris surrogate, and DNC National Finance Committee member told Fox and Friends Weekend on Saturday. So they definitely spent a lot of money. Harris campaign cut multiple six-figure paychecks in September for left-leaning groups that have been vocal about defunding the police, reparations, and are tied to radical activists who have supported notorious anti-Semite Louis Farrakhan, Fox News digitally previously reported. That's wild. So they cut checks to left-leaning groups. So they spend money to get people to talk about
They give
things.
it to the groups pay the performers and the people that speak.
Well, no, you also the groups, like you're paying them to be vocal.
Yeah.
Like by saying I cut multiple six-figure checks, like you're funding these people to go out and do these things. The FEC filings
50.
Also spent north of $56 million on payroll and payroll taxes in
There it is.
just 3 months.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
That payroll is your performers. and your
Filings
speakers.
also show the campaign gave in excess of $100 million to various consulting and marketing firms, including Gambit Strategies LLC, DuPont Circle Strategies LLC, and Bully Pulpit Interactive LLC. That is so crazy. They gave those folks $100 million.
Yeah, so like $1 million to Eminem could have been lost in there, but I'm just saying that
there it is.
You have to find the evidence to
Right.
blame
Well,
him.
I think with a guy like Eminem too, he doesn't like performing. Like he has agoraphobia. Like he doesn't like leaving the house, which is crazy. I saw him. He killed it. I saw him over here at the racetrack.
Really?
He played at Coda. Yeah, it was awesome. It was like 100,000 people were there, because it was I don't know what the real number is. I might have made that up. But a lot of people. Because it was there.
Packed.
People were there for Formula One, and they have this enormous place. Like I saw the Stones there, and I think it was. I mean, how many people does Coda seat? I mean, it had to be 80,000 people. It's one of the biggest crowds I've ever seen. It was insane.
This F1
but I
stuff's
saw
taking
Eminem
off.
there. He was great, but he performed so rarely.
My buddy was at an F1 thing recently, and like at one of the concerts that was performing afterwards or something, or maybe it was just F1. I don't know. Maybe there wasn't a concert. Whatever it was, Michael Jordan was just hanging out. Michael Jordan had a hat on, a hood on. He had like the things over his ears from the noise of the car. And my buddy's like, "Hey man, like and then Jordan took like a selfie with him, chatted him up for a few minutes. And I was like,
Wow.
that's how popular it's getting.
Yeah.
Like you said, the Eminem was performing at an F1 thing.
Yeah. He performed at, they had the races, and then one night he performed.
That's crazy.
I think he performed Sunday night or Saturday night. I just saw Post Malone there too. He was just there 2 weeks ago doing his country show.
Yeah.
He's doing like
I love that.
It's great.
Yeah.
It's fucking. I love that dude to
Post's
death.
the best.
He's so much fun. He's such a fun dude too. Just fun to hang out with him too. And get to see him and give him a hug.
Yeah, that's what it says.
Okay,
100,000.
100,000
Nice.
people. 100,000. So it was just in fucking insane huge crowd. He killed it too.
I love that.
So, but he doesn't like to do shows. So to get him out there for a political event, you gotta come with the cheddar.
Yeah, you better
gotta
pay
come
the
with
guy, yeah.
cheddar. Especially if he doesn't do a lot of shows a year.
Yeah.
1.8 will go a long way.
Yeah.
Guy lives in Detroit.
Pretty
Price
easy.
of living there is not that steep.
Yeah.
You know?
I think that I also think that People care about money, you know?
Yeah, well, especially if you're a person who thinks about money all the time. That's what I was saying about, like, I know rich dudes. I know dudes who are billionaires who get uncomfortable when they're around 100 billionaires because they feel like losers.
That's wild. It's hilarious. It breaks my brain. It's like when you showed me all the planets in a row and I was going, oh, like that's what you just did with money for me.
Because there's always layers to it. Like, I'm pretty wealthy, but I'm very poor compared to my friend Elon.
Yeah.
Like, I'm a pauper. I'm like a dude living in a
But it's
shitty studio
also-
apartment compared to that guy. Like, that's what it's like.
I know.
Like, there's like crazy levels to it. But also, he works in a way I am not willing to do.
He doesn't sleep. That's one thing people don't talk about. These really, even Bill Gates, whether you agree with him or not, like the dude was willing to like sleep like a fish, where he'd sleep for like 15 minutes and wake up and program again. Like he worked really hard to become Bill Gates.
Oh yeah, there's no doubt. And without Microsoft, like who knows where we'd be without the Windows operating system?
Oh my God.
It was fucking everywhere. It was everything.
He's also cured like 500 things. These like small like little non-profits will say, well, there's this disease called this. You go, how much you need? They go $1 million, we think maybe, and then
There's a lot
he
of
just
profit
gives
in
them
that,
money,
too.
and then they close. They go, well, what are we going to work on now? He cured it. You know?
Really?
Yeah.
Sure about that?
Well, that's what I've. Is this another one of these ones I got
it
wrong?
Might be one of these ones. Yeah.
Let's ask
there's a
if Bill
thing called
just put in.
philanthrocapitalism. Okay, and philanthrocapitalism is you're acting like a philanthropist, but you're making a lot of money through this. Like he invested a lot of money in the mRNA vaccines, and that's why he was promoting it. And he made like $500 million.
Sure.
And then after he dumped his stock, he started talking shit about it. It wasn't really that good. The virus wasn't that dangerous. Like what?
Yeah.
Where was this guy?
Well, but I'm saying like all these. I don't know how to look up if he's cured any diseases or anything. I don't know how you'd look that up. Is there a way to look that up?
They've invested in efforts to develop cures for diseases,
For sure.
including sickle
They've
cell,
also
HIV.
invested in
But they didn't
pharmaceutical
fix it.
No. The only one I know that's close, I think, is sickle cell. But I think didn't they just pull back?
We
one
would
of
have
those
heard about
drugs?
that if they
I think-
cured
yeah.
sickle cell.
You know where sickle cell came from?
I thought that he cured all these small ones.
Do you know where sickle cell came from?
No.
It came from resistance to malaria.
Really?
Isn't that crazy? Yeah, the people that experience malaria, that's tracked down in their genes and they pass it on to their ancestors. That's where sickle. I had a buddy of mine who died from sickle cell. When I was a kid, a guy I used to do taekwondo with, a dude named Walter. He was an awesomely talented guy. But like he would get like real sick, man. He just couldn't train, couldn't come in for months.
Yeah, there was a new drug that came out this year. I think that they thought was going to be like ending it, but they've had to quickly pull it off.
Brought
because
to you by Pfizer.
Some
Of
people
course.
died. I think.
They died from it?
Higher than an anticipated number of deaths reported in trials.
Yeah,
Oh,
indicating
my
that the benefits of the drug no longer outweigh the risks. So it kills people quicker than sickle cell.
Yeah, he just goes.
Which is like,
Well, I guess that's a solution of sorts.
there's
Yeah.
been so many of those drugs. You know, 33%, is that what it is? 30-something% of all drugs the FDA approves get pulled.
Ugh.
They're like, whoopsies.
Yeah, we
shouldn't have let
tried.
that
Yeah,
one through.
what's the matter? You know, you ever heard that book? I think it's called like 19. I don't know the name of the book. It's named after a year.
1984.
I think it's
Not the George Orwell book.
No, not George Orwell. It's called.
That would be ridiculous.
Gosh, it's a.
What's it about?
I'm trying to look in my Audible for this book. But basically the premise is that this guy cures cancer.
Why don't you just search and type in the number 19?
Maybe, but it might be called 2020 or something.
Oh, you don't remember?
No, it's a. I listened to a lot of books. What's it called here? I'll find it.
Okay.
But the premise is this guy cures cancer, and then at first everyone's great. He becomes the richest guy in the world. Everyone's happy that he cured cancer. But then people start to resent him because they're like, I should have already had my inheritance by now. This guy's playing God, keeping my parents alive longer than they should. There becomes like these ideas of like, no, he's wrong for doing this. He's affected society. Like there's no real estate being freed up as quick now. People should just die however they die naturally. And it's a fun
novel.
little. Yeah, it's not obviously not real or nothing, but it was an interesting kind of way to look at things.
Well, that's a sociopath's way of looking at things. Imagine that. Like, what you're thinking is, if someone dies, I get their stuff.
I know.
Why don't they just die?
It's disgusting. But I could see how groups would start to think that. Like that's how like life is. You do a good idea. Look at the systems that we put in place like back in the day, and now everyone looks like that was just their way to trap people in the projects. You're like, at first it was like a really nice idea, like that they wanted to give people that couldn't afford places in the city. But it's all been
That's why how people react to that one dude who's trying to live to be 2,000 years old. You know, that one guy who gets like young guy's blood injected in his body.
Yeah, just
and
do
does all these
anything.
different things. And it's like I've seen so many people mad at him. If everybody lived 500 years, the whole world would be overcrowded.
Yeah.
Like,
but everyone's not trying to do it. Yeah.
also, if I could give you a pill and
You'd
you
do
would
it.
be healthy, you just take this one pill, you'll be healthy for
Yeah.
150 years. You're not going to take it? Shut the fuck up.
It's called 2030 by Albert Brooks.
Oh, okay, 2030.
But
it is.
it's interesting. It's just
Good-
kind of
good
like,
book?
yeah, because you start to see how like over time people just misconstrue things. Enough time goes by.
People are willing to do all sorts of mental gymnastics. I mean, that's how this whole gender-affirming care thing got
Exactly.
through. We would never let kids get tattoos. We're letting them get their dicks chopped off.
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
says who? Like,
Like,
why?
What, 30 years ago, if you said that
Right.
we'd be debating or even
Right.
having to have a conversation that's controversial about whether a guy can be a woman,
Right.
they would laugh in the streets at us, you know?
it's
And now
ridiculous.
it's real. So I just
Yeah.
like, that's kind of how the book does a really good job of describing, like, they would just resent that guy after a while. They would hate him for curing cancer.
Some people would. There's always going to be weak bitches in this world, and they exist to that. You just like you're talking about your parents. I don't want to be like that.
Yeah.
That's what weak
100%.
bitches are there for. They're weak behavior, jealous behavior. You learn from it, and you go, "Oh, okay. I see what that guy's doing. I don't ever want to be like that guy."
I feel like that with a ton of people in my life right now.
Hell yeah,
Dude.
You're gonna always. They're there. They're always gonna be there. There's some people that they're not gonna keep up, and you can't keep them in your life either. You just can't. You got to keep moving.
Yeah.
Some people are never going to run out of problems, and they're never going to run out of friends to throw those problems at.
Yeah, I was telling you this earlier, but like the day after the election, like I like woke up, I was with my buddies, I was just sitting there, and I was about to open up my phone for the first time since Trump wins the election. I just took a deep breath. I was like, I'm gonna lose a lot of friends today. I was about to post some shit, and like just like I was so.
You're not losing friends, though. You're
No.
losing friends that weren't really your friends. They were friends with conditions.
Mm-hmm.
You know, Ron White is a giant Kamala Harris supporter, believe it or not. Ron White always votes blue.
Yeah.
He's one of them low information voters. Like, you start giving him facts, he falls apart. But he'll fucking tell you that guy shouldn't be the fucking president. Like, he's like,
He's a good president. yeah.
but I love him to death. He's
Yeah.
one of my best friends. I don't care.
That's how things
if
should
his-
work.
That's how it's supposed to work. He has
100%.
different political ideas. He has
Dude.
different ways of thinking about things. That's fine.
It's broke my heart that a lot of people have treated me the way, because I feel like people were fine with conservative Jeff. They knew that I'm a Christian and that I lean, right, and especially now lean even more right, and then. But they didn't really draw a line until I became like supportive of Donald Trump. Like that's when they drew a line and they go, "We don't want to talk to you anymore."
I don't think I moved.
And that broke my heart.
I don't think I moved right at all. I stayed.
But the
whole
the
thing
thing is
moved.
moved. That's what
Yeah.
I'm saying. I haven't
Yeah.
changed many of my thoughts. It's just that it's gone. What was a Democrat is now Republican.
There's a few of my thoughts that I used to like be all in on, and now I'm like, And this is like just about like human psychology. Like I was all in on universal basic income, which I think is going to be necessary in the future because I think automation. And it's something Andrew Yang talked about when he was running for president. I think he's correct that automation and AI is going to just consume so many, especially AI. It's going to consume so many jobs. There's going to be so many people that have to like rethink their life and figure it out. And I think if we don't compensate those people somehow or another, we're going to have a real fucking chaotic problem on our hands. Just to keep people happy and healthy,
Yeah.
I think universal basic income might be the way to go. But I used to always think like, hey, maybe if we gave universal basic income to people, then, they would still be ambitious, but they'd be ambitious in like pursuing their own career or developing their own business or, taking that
Yeah.
money and using it to be free. But now I think that human nature, if you give people, there's so many people that if you don't give them a difficult problem to solve, and if you provide them with all their needs, their food and their shelter, they just get lazy.
100%.
So there's
Which is
two
what you
things
don't
going
like.
on. Right. So there's two things going on simultaneously. Is one, we have to address the fact that there is no way to get around the fact that automation and AI is going to consume a lot of jobs, and I think universal basic income is probably the only solution for some of those people. But then there's also the psychology aspect of it. Like if you do tell people you never have to work again, most people never have to work again, and they're going to regret it someday. One day they're going to look at all these people they admire that have accomplished things, that live these fun, exciting lives, successful lives, and they're going to feel envy, and they're going to feel despair, and they're going to feel like they could have done something more with their
Sure.
life. But they got trapped. The siren song of comfort led them into the rocks.
That's the devil, the comfort, 100%. Like all my friends, right? My friends, not all my friends, but during like COVID, they're like, what am I going to do? And this is like really stressful and I don't have any, right? And then they got their government money, right? For being out of work. And you know what they did, Joe? They bought guitars and baseball cards. And it's like, I don't think you were as struggling as you thought you were.
Well, they neneeded something to make them
It's
feel
never
good.
enough,
It's
you
never
know?
enough.
So
No.
it's like you've got to, like, if you give them, they'll say, well, this isn't this basic income. It's not enough for me to really live. Because what is really living?
Right.
So it's just always going to be more.
Right.
So it's like, it's flustering to try to solve that. The hard work's the answer.
Well, you're not going to feel happy with no purpose. And that is another thing that we found during COVID. One of the things, like, people were so at each other's throats during COVID. It's because everybody was at home. And they were all fucking bored.
Yeah,
and they all
drunk.
just freaking out
Yeah.
and just, like, attacking people over wear a fucking mask!
I know.
Like, everybody was out of their minds.
I lost my mind.
It's like most people did, especially if you're seeing your life go away. Because maybe you've worked 30 years to develop a business, then all of a sudden some new thing comes along and you have to shut your business down for a year and a half.
That's not
And
going to
you're
work.
Like, I don't have money.
Right.
And you can't get a loan. And like, oh my God. And the lease payments for the building, they keep coming in. Like, what am I going to do? And then you're on Twitter all
Crushed
day.
all small businesses that they claim they care about.
God, they crushed so many fucking restaurants.
Yeah.
They almost crushed the Comedy Store.
Oh, I haven't made money in 6 months, and now a different group's going to break the windows out of that place that I didn't even...
Yeah.
So all at the same time?
Yeah.
That's enough to make people...
And people are saying defund the police at the same time.
Yeah.
You're like, oh, this is great.
That's enough to change my political opinions, and it's enough for a psychopath to grab a gun and go, hey, maybe don't knock out the windows of my store. Like,
Yeah.
it was just too much at once.
If someone comes along from the left that is an objective, sensible person that's making sense of, like, immigration, foreign policy, then I'm still left.
Right?
I'm still the same
Yeah, me
person.
too.
I'm still the same, because socially I'm left on almost everything. On almost everything. The hard right is, to me, just like the hard left. The crazy fucks that are out there on the fringes, and they sort of define the left and define the right for everybody. Like, you define the right by, like, white supremacists, and KKK. You define the left by Antifa. Like, Jesus Christ. Most people are, like, right here.
Sure.
Most people are like, I just want rules and law and everybody to be kind and healthy and a prosperous society and no pollution. And I feel like we could all work together and do a better job of all these different things.
But like Jordan Peterson says, who's like my favorite human in the world, I love him so much. But he was saying, like, it's really easy to identify and rebuke the far right. Like, we're very good at identifying it and going, I disavow, or whatever the term is. We don't want that.
Yeah.
But then with the left, the very extreme left, we kind of celebrate it and we post it and we brag about it and we go, look how good I am.
I think they thought we have thugs. I think that it's one of those things. And
I'm
again,
against the far left.
It's the bullies. I am too.
And the far right.
And the far right. It's the bullies. It's the bullies on both sides. The people that just want to use a group and have a bunch of people. They're all together and attack.
Yeah.
And just go smash windows and light things on fire. And then there's also, they get funded to do that too.
Yeah.
All this shit that you're seeing where where they funded all these different organizations. People fund through PACs, through all sorts of different methods, fund all sorts of organizations.
100%.
They donate to all sorts of organizations. And some of these organizations cause problems.
Yeah.
And they do it because they want them to do it. They want problems.
Yeah.
There's like during
Profit
Black
off
Lives
problems.
Matter, when you see stacks of bricks laying around.
Yep.
I'm not buying it. I'm not buying this. Someone left $30,000 worth of bricks around. They were just doing construction. Just conveniently happened at the same time the protest is here.
Yeah. Everyone loves coincidences. They
What a
think
coincidence.
they think it's all
What are you, a
coincidence.
conspiracy theorist?
yeah.
But it's just, and that is another group thing, about being a part of the group. If you're a part of a group that's yelling and lighting things on fire, you know how much fun that must be?
Oh yeah, for that. Yeah, it's happening.
You're
you know?
doing it to support black people? Who doesn't want to support
I'm the
black
best.
people?
Yeah, exactly.
Let's light up Starbucks.
Yeah.
You know, and Starbucks is like, what did I do? I didn't do anything.
Yeah. At least when I supported my group, I didn't get a free Xbox. You know what I'm saying? Like I don't think you really care about what you believe in if you're getting lamps and shit.
And then in New York, they had the dumbest way of handling it. They just let people burn themselves out.
It's crazy.
That de Blasio was the worst. You know,
Unreal.
it's not even his real name.
No.
Yeah. What's de Blasio's real name? It's some crazy like villain name.
His real name's Mookie Betts.
No, it's like a villain. He sounds like a villain. What's his real name? He changed his name to fit in with
Warren Wilhelm Jr.
Wilhelm Jr.
Or Bill de Blasio. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a evil name.
That
Warren
is,
de Blasio
for sure.
Wilhelm. Yeah. Warren Wilhelm Jr.
I like to call myself Jeff
Changed
Dye.
his name.
Jeff Dye Sr. And people are like, oh, is your son? I go, no. No, but if I, just Jeff Dye Sr.
If I have a kid, it's
If I
going to be
have
Jeff Jr.
Yeah, but
I'm Jeff Sr.
Jeff Sr.
Yeah, I'm just preparing for
You're
the day I
Joe
have a
Rogan
family.
Sr. It's perfect.
This is fucking so funny, though. The guy changed his name to make it ethnic.
Oh, yeah.
De Blasio. Hey, De Blasio, the main New York.
right,
is
I'm the
best.
guy, Gabba the Goo. Yeah.
De Blasio knows how to take care of you. Eat the fries, get a vaccine. Come on.
William? What happened?
No, Bill. Bill
Aren't
de
you,
Blasio.
aren't you old man Wilhelm's kid? You know?
No. That's not me.
That's really
That's not
funny.
me. I'm the guy who pays taxpayers money to interpretive dance performers with masks on in the middle of the street. You ever see that?
You're like Alec Baldwin's wife. You remember her?
Did you ever see De Blasio? Oh, that lady's great.
Dude, it was
Did you ever
she's
see
from
de
like
Blasio's-
Connecticut, and she's like, how do you say orange? Is it orange? I'm from Spain.
She made up a national.
Just made up a whole like that's crazy
it's
to
so
me.
great.
That's
She must be
mentally
so fun, though.
crazy.
She must be
Sexually,
fun.
yeah, amazing.
I bet she's fun.
To
Any kind of
pretend.
gal that pretends she's a different name.
That's wild.
That lady. That lady's fun.
100%.
What was I just asking? Oh, the video where De Blasio had the performative dancers.
Oh, yes.
Listen to this. But take it from the beginning so you can hear how fucking stupid this is. Look at this. They all have masks on
We
outside.
need a recovery that brings back the life and the heart and the energy of this city,
Oh
and
my
that
God.
everyone gets to be a part of.
Look at this
If we're going to do
dance.
that. We're going to really bring back the heart and soul of New York City. We need our arts and culture back, and we need people to see it and feel it, to participate in it, to know that essence of New York City has not been defeated by the coronavirus.
Peak
But we'll
woke.
come back strong in 2021. Month after month in 2021, as you see the city come back to life, culture will lead the way.
Culture.
Culture is another step towards a recovery for our city. We're launching with 115 street locations in all 5 boroughs, and it brings stages to our neighborhoods and culture to the heart of our neighbors.
I
And
wonder
Diwali's culture is
how many of those 115 people in 115 neighborhoods shot at those
Oh,
dancers.
yeah. Although when I think of New York City, I do think of people spazzing out in masks like that. I do think of them going
Yeah.
like this, like on drugs, asking me for money. That's what I think of when I think of New York.
This is peak woke. This is absolute peak woke insanity. Stupid, shitty, out of rhythm dancing to terrible music while everybody's wearing masks outside,
Yes.
and they spent money on this. And this was his way of bringing the city back through culture.
It's just so
It's peak
unlikable.
woke. It's
Yeah.
peak woke. I think this moment, this video, the historians will look back at this. Like this is
Oh,
like
yeah.
this is when they clearly lost their fucking mind.
Yeah.
The biggest metropolitan city on earth. The one.
Right.
If you can make it there, you can make it anywhere. That retard is
Right.
the mayor.
100%.
And this is what he's doing with the taxpayer money while he's got the whole city shut down.
Yep.
And he wanted to defund the police.
They won't
and
believe
he
it.
let people riot and smash
Yeah.
windows and steal things. We need to bring our culture back.
Yeah.
No, you need to leave the job. You're terrible at this job.
But people are going to go, oh, you believe that? That wasn't real. You go, look at it,
Peak
right?
woke.
Yeah, they're going to go,
That's
oh, come on.
Peak woke insanity. If
That-
you tried
that's
to do
different.
that at any other time in history,
Yeah.
if that was in 1990 and the mayor of New York had people dancing with masks on in the street, everybody like, what the fuck
Yeah,
is this?
someone bully them immediately.
What happened
Yeah, like
here?
what is happening?
How did you
Yeah.
lose your fucking mind? But that was when everybody was so confused and so mentally ill. I think as a society, we mentally had a cold. We were all like,
Oh, for sure.
No one felt healthy.
Yeah.
The whole country was mentally ill, like
Yeah.
legitimately. And
yeah.
that's how they pulled
That's
that
it.
off.
Oh, yeah.
That's peak
But
woke.
you know what they'll say, Joe? They'll go, that was 2020, dude. Because they'll dismiss it as crazy. They'll go, oh, that's different. That was 2020.
That was fucking.
He's going to bring up 2020 again.
That was 40 months ago.
Right.
Man. Let it go.
Exactly.
Just
Where's the apologies?
What's the big deal?
Where's the, hey,
They're
we
not
were,
coming. They're not coming.
hey, maybe we were wrong
Yeah.
about that. When are you ever going to hear that?
Not only did they not admit that they were wrong, but now they're the victims.
Yeah.
Everybody else is spreading misinformation, and we have to censor online speech. What about you guys?
Yeah.
You got us into the Iraq war with misinformation, you cunts.
I've been wrong all the time, and I just go, I'm sorry, I didn't know. I've been wrong on this fucking podcast right now.
Congratulations.
But like the left will just go, no, that's different. Like I'm like, can you just at least say we're sorry for calling you a super spreading jerk because you wanted to leave your house to get coffee? Can I get one? Yeah.
They were wrong about everything, and they gaslit the whole fucking world.
it's
And they got away
crazy.
with it. And they almost got away with demonizing their political opponent and putting him in jail. They almost got him in jail.
Oh, my
They
God.
came real close.
Yeah, that's so
They
scary.
convicted him of 34 felonies for things that aren't even felonies.
Well, and also people can't even tell you what those felonies are. It's more
just
fun.
like to say
It's
it.
more fun to call someone a felon.
Yeah, well, that's why you got convicted in the first place. It
Yeah.
was all political.
It's like name calling.
The whole world just lost its mind in 4 years. In 4 years, everybody it was like there was so many contributing factors. So the hatred of Trump, and then there was the coronavirus, the chaos, and then
The
Biden,
racism, the sexism.
yeah, the George Floyd thing, and then Biden seems to be dead, and he's still running the country. Like, what's happening?
I know.
And then and then now, finally, when Trump won, it was like the first time in a long time. I was like,
Yeah.
maybe we're gonna be okay.
Well,
so you see the stuff that he's saying,
I
like
love
about the
it.
colleges.
I'm very
the gender-
optimistic
Yes.
about it. Yeah.
This is like what most logical, sensible people have been saying.
Well, and also like the double standard is just really fascinating to me. Is like what's the Bosa guy from the 49ers? He comes in like while they're interviewing the guys that were the stars of the game. He runs up and puts his MAGA hat on, and then he like leaves, and everyone's like, well, he's gonna have to be fined for that. Like you can't make political statements. I'm like, I don't know if you remember that BLM that was like on the field, like all their helmets.
Right, but that's
said,
different.
That's
not a political
pretty
statement.
political.
Yeah, it's a cultural statement more than it's a politician you're supporting. There's a big difference between like
You
someone
don't find
you're
that
supporting.
political. Stop,
It is-
don't shoot isn't
it is-
political.
It's not political in a sense where someone's running for office. So there's a difference between like you're promoting someone running for office while it's on television, and they don't want you doing that on television. The other thing is like you're taking a cultural stand. It's a different thing. It's got political aspects to it. It's political in nature. It's supported primarily by the left, right?
Okay.
But it's not the same as
It's not vote for so and so.
Right,
Okay.
right. But if he had a vote for Harris hat on, I bet nobody would give a fuck. That's
I don't know.
the difference.
Yeah, but that is interesting. Like I remember seeing that and going, well, you're gonna have to find all those other players who wore defund the police on their things, and
Yeah,
you know,
little different. It's different. It's a social issue, but I think the point's the same. It's like these guys are it's like how many of these fucking dudes who do this stuff just do it because they know they're gonna get social media cred. And Instagram
that's
cred.
tough to figure out too.
Yeah, there's a lot of that in the world today.
Yeah.
Like when people know that you can say certain things, it's hard to know what you really think.
Right. I've gotten accused of pandering, right? They're like, oh, he's pandering to the right or whatever.
Pandering.
Finesse Mitchell goes, you've been real political lately to me. And I was like, well, I'm just saying what I think. Also, like, I told you this like, too, is like when I was in Seattle, and I was like making jokes, like nobody goes, wow, you're really leaning into this left stuff. Like when comics are going up and talking about all the things they talk about, I don't go, oh, trying to make that Obama money, huh? Like no, they just are saying what they think.
Yeah.
Nobody ever accuses people of pandering until you do it like on the conservative side.
Well,
then they think you're pandering.
People do like when they catch people pandering, though.
If you can catch them, but how do you know?
Well, they like to accuse people of pandering if they disagree with what that person says. Yeah.
Bingo. And our community, like as far as stand-up comedians, has been very left-leaning.
Yeah,
always. And I've
always.
never once gone, oh, you're pandering to fit in here. Or you're
Right.
pandering to get on The Tonight Show.
Well,
or you're
some-
pandering to
some
get on
people
Jimmy Kimmel.
Definitely do, though.
For sure. But I never accused them of that, because how am I supposed to know if they really feel like that way or not?
Right.
But
I
then
don't
I
care
say
if you
something.
pander. I really don't care as long as it's funny.
Right.
If you're pandering, but it's really hilarious. But the problem with me, what I really get grossed out by is clapter.
Oh, yeah. I'm guilty of it sometimes lately, for sure. Just in certain scenarios I've done it. Yeah.
Where people just They only want to say things that people are going to clap and agree to. They think it's a punchline. Like, hey, you missed a whole part of this whole formula we're all participating in here. This is a comedy club. We're coming here for funsies.
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think also too, it's like that's why it's hard. That's why it's really rough to accuse someone of it.
Yeah.
Because you don't know. Like, what is the difference between pandering and just playing to a crowd? Mm-hmm. Or you go,
Right.
hey Joe, you got to read the crowd.
Right.
Well, what's the difference between pandering and reading the crowd?
Yeah.
I guess reading a crowd is pandering. So then I guess yes, in a way, I'm guilty of it, but we all are.
Yeah. I guess. I've never been one for reading a crowd. I was like,
You just
fuck
do your
it.
thing.
Let's find out.
I like that.
Let's find out how much of this stuff works.
In Madison, Wisconsin, they go, I was in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, somewhere in Wisconsin. The people after the show go, I bet you don't do that material in LA. I go, damn sure I do. Yeah, I do. Yeah, I do this material in LA for sure.
Yeah, people have this bizarre idea that you change your act depending upon who's in the crowd.
Right.
Like,
Yeah.
you know how hard it is to come up with all this stuff?
Yeah.
It takes me like fucking 6 months to come up with 20 minutes.
It's hard to, one new joke needs to be blossomed into a
Yeah.
thing. It needs to be watered. But I will say, like, I'll change, read a crowd. Like, if it's a corporate event, I'm going to do different material. I'll do different words of the same bits and things. If I have to adjust,
Yeah. Oh, that's a different gig, though, right?
Yeah.
The corporate gig is just, I'm only like hiking up my skirt and sticking my ass up in the air.
Dude.
That's all it is.
That's the real luxury of being as successful as a lot of you comedians are.
You don't have to do that.
You don't have to do that.
The corporate gigs.
I don't have to, but I still get offered it, and I say yes, and I'm going, oh, it's tough.
Yeah. Ron White did one. He goes, I did it because they offered me a fuckload of money, and it was the worst experience I ever had in my
stressful.
fucking life.
Stressful.
Why'd
dude.
you do it? You shouldn't have done it. He goes, it was fucking terrible.
Yeah, it's stressful.
Yeah.
It also is kind of exciting, though. I kind of crave those moments where I'm like nervous again.
Right.
Like in February when I came and did the Mothership for the first time, I was like, oh, this is exciting behind the curtain. I'm a little nervous.
Yeah.
I'm a little nervous to go out there. You're up in the balcony. I'm going, I'm a little like, I like this. Like the first time I did the Tonight Show, I had all these like butterflies. Like that was, I live for those kind of moments. So like, sometimes I'll take a corporate. I'm going,
should do a live
I'm
special.
pretty nervous. I'd love to.
Yeah,
I'd love to.
I did that because it made me nervous. I said no to it at first.
Really?
Yeah, I was like,
It's
no,
done.
I'm
One
not doing
shot.
that. Yeah, but then I thought, why are you being a pussy? And then I called my manager back. I said, don't say no yet. Let me call you tomorrow. I called him
Love
the
it.
next day. I'm like, all right, we're good. Let's
I
do
love it. I think that's the future.
Well, it's definitely you prepare for it more, and you think about it in a different way than a regular show. Like I prepared so much more than I ever do normally.
Well, you didn't have to sit around approving edits from people at a big corporation with a bunch of laptops who aren't creative, who go, maybe this bit, and you go, I'm the comedian, why are you editing that? And so, like, I think live's the future.
I had to do that once with a Comedy Central. I had a Comedy Central deal to do a special, and I bailed on it.
Oh, really?
Yeah, just after the phone call. I'm like,
Yeah.
no, can't do this.
Yeah, so
it's like you can't say that. I'm like, why not?
Yeah, what do you
are
mean?
we talking about? Do you guys want funny or not funny?
What
Like,
is this? I thought this was cable.
They've changed their standards though, and then like by 2014, I got away with a lot. I got away with a lot when I did a Comedy Central special in 2014. But I don't even know what they make anymore other than South Park.
Comedy Central?
I mean, do they even have South Park anymore?
I'm not sure if they're making new episodes, but they have that. They play a lot of reruns of things, and then they also have all those daily shows and all that stuff does good for them.
Okay, Daily Show, of course. But like, they used to have so many shows.
I know.
man.
I just don't think TV can compete with the internet anymore.
No. And they had an app too. I know Comedy Central had an app for a while. I don't know if they still have that running. They still have a Comedy Central app?
You want to hear a good story about
Got folded into Paramount, I believe.
That makes sense. And that's where the new South Park episodes are, right?
what's that comedian's name that Joe List just made a documentary about? Gosh, he's a great guy from Boston. He now lives in the Keys of Florida. He's a Boston comic, kind of a legend.
Tom Dustin.
Tom Dustin, yeah. There's a great Tom Dustin story in Boston where the women that ran Comedy Central were like in the crowd. And it's like a showcase thing. And the owner's like, just keep it clean. This is, that's the thing. And Tom Dustin's already kind of a controversial guy as far as like the booker was like, you know our reputation here and we're letting you do this because we want to help you, but like play ball. So Tom Dustin goes out there and he's struggling a bit. And then he, and it just in the middle of the set, he just decides, I don't want to do this. Like I don't want to jump through these hoops. So he goes, I heard Comedy Central's here, and everyone claps, and he goes, how many fat, bearded, unfunny fucks are you going to put on the network this year? And everyone's like mortified. And then he's like, they're lighting him. Get off the stage. Get off the stage. And then he raps. He's that's it. I'm at it. And then he comes back and he goes, oh, I forgot. You're all a bunch of N-word cunts.
Whoa.
He just says that to the audience, and because he just wanted to stick it to the comedy club and the people and think, yeah,
that's the guy?
Tom Dustin. Yeah, he's a legend, dude. Yeah, great fucking funny guy, dude.
Must have missed him.
He's he's grinding. He's grinding it out. One of those Boston boys.
And where does he live now?
Now he lives in he started a comedy club in Key West.
What's it called?
Because
I know there is a comedy club in Key West that a lot of people go down to. It's supposed to be a fun gig.
Doug does it. Doug Stanhope does it. I know
Is that the club?
Swartzen. I don't know if Swartzen's done it, but I know Swartzen was down there when I was down there.
So he just works his own club?
Yeah, just made his own, started his own club. He's happy. Pretty cool.
That's kind of what I did.
Comedy Key
Well,
West.
you guys
Sam
did it in
Talent.
different
Saturday
ways,
night.
Joe.
Joe List there. This
Joe
weekend.
List.
Oh yeah, there you go. Sam Talent. That's pretty
We
cool.
should fucking take a trip
Comedy
down to
Key West. Hell yeah, it's great.
Might be fun to do a gig down there, just for
Dude.
funsies.
Yeah, that'd help him out a lot too.
It's a fun area. Those people are wild people. I mean, that's been a wild place for a long ass time.
Very
It's
uncharted territory.
Yeah, kind of like, nomads, like fucking
It's pretty
Mad
cool.
Max type
I like
shit.
it there. Yeah.
Yeah.
And you can't just fly into the Keys. I mean,
No.
if you can, I didn't know that you could because I had to drive. Dave Williamson drove me for like 3 hours. Like, how long have we been in the Keys? He's like, the gig's up here. Don't
You
worry.
got to go by cruise ship.
That'd be, yeah, I think that's how they get there, actually. Yeah. Have you done cruises? Been on cruises? No?
No.
Yeah.
Not me, dude.
Not into it. Yeah.
No.
Well, you know what's funny about the cruise ships, while we're talking about like corporate corruption? It's international waters. So like the
They
casino,
can just kill you.
well, the casino, you're like, this kind of feels unfair. And they're like, well, who are you going to complain to?
No one.
There's no pit boss
Yeah.
that goes, don't worry, this is all
Of course it's
sanctioned by the.
unfair. 'Cause they're to get you drunk and steal your money.
Oh, and the games are rigged. They just steal it. You go, I would like to talk to the casino commission. They go, shut up. You're in the middle of the ocean. And you
people
talk to the guy
fall
that
off
works
those
there.
things.
You're like, hey, buddy, how much you make? And they're like, I make like $1 a week or what? Like it's like some crazy thing. You go, they're just allowed to do that?
They give them free food and a bed.
Yeah. And the guy, more than where I live,
How about those folks that like live on cruise ships?
Dude.
There's certain folks that
Yes.
gave up their house and they
Oh,
just
yeah.
live on a cruise ship all year round.
I will say, and I promise I'm not trying to be contrarian here, because I love Tim Dillon. I love like all these guys who will shit on cruise ships, and they're right. Every bit of criticism that my favorite people in my life criticize about cruise ships, the other side of that coin is some people just want to eat shit and look at things. They want to be fed. There are some people. It's nice for my dad, like he's happy to just go. Oh, okay, what are they playing? Rush Hour 2? All right, like it's okay.
Yeah.
Those people are enjoying it.
Sure, it's a vacation,
Yep.
and you're with a whole bunch of people. that are on
Sunburned. You're all
vacation.
sitting around.
You got water slides
Yeah.
and fucking all kinds of shit to do, and
Yeah.
yeah,
It's fine for
I
them.
get it.
Yeah.
It's not my brain.
Right. I don't want to do it.
I don't sync up that
A
way.
nightmare for me.
Yeah. Oh,
But then every
I'd
3
feel
days
so
you get
trapped.
to waddle your fat ass off the boat and see, Puerto Rico for 3 hours, and then you get back on the boat. Some people, that's a pretty cool deal.
Some people.
Some people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't want to perform on those things.
Well.
How many times have you done it?
Oh, I've only been on a cruise ship like probably 3 times, and I got like some special deal where
Were you doing stand up or were you?
I got to do stand up.
Yeah.
Dude, Joe, what a thing.
Ooh.
One of the other comics, Tom Cotter, goes, "You don't be here, dude."
I know Tom Cotter.
Yeah, Tom's awesome. He was the other comic on the boat. He saw that I was doing it. He goes, "Dude, you don't want to be on here." He's like, "Go. You got the rest of your life to be on a cruise ship, like if this is where you want to end up." And he was speaking to the comedy aspect of it. Like,
Yeah.
it was just pretty
That's a dark statement.
depressing. Yeah.
Because Tom's my age.
Tom's awesome.
I've known Tom since we were open micers.
Really?
Yeah. The first time I ever went to an open mic night, I saw Tom on stage.
Really?
Yeah, yeah.
I just found out that Greg Fitzsimmons was a Boston guy.
He started a week after me.
Really?
Yeah, we both started together.
Do you consider yourself a Boston guy?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's where I started.
Nice.
Yeah. I think you develop a kind of sense of comedy and of urgency and like the audience's attention span, and like the comics from Boston have, at least back in that day, they had sharp material. They're
Oh, yeah.
there were too many good comics. It was
Yeah.
it was also like a real it was a real pressure cooker because you had these guys that were these national level comics that could have been some of the best comics in the country, but they never left Boston.
Right.
And so you're always working with these guys, these Steve Sweeney, Don Gavin, Kevin Knox, Lenny Clark. They were monsters.
Yeah, Lenny would have been pissed if you didn't say him right there.
Oh, he was a monster. He was the first guy, or the second guy, actually, I ever get paid to open for.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, those guys are rock stars, and then they stayed put, and so you guys have to compete with the rock stars.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So Lenny got out, and he did a lot of TV shows and a bunch of stuff, but a lot of those guys, they stayed put, and they were still, like Steve Sweeney. He's, to this day, one of the greatest killers on stage I've ever seen in my life. The guy destroyed back in the day. I mean, destroyed. And Boston did a dirty thing. They did a dirty thing. The dirty thing was, like, say if you're a famous comedian and you're coming to play Nick's Comedy Stop for the weekend, like Billy Crystal, they would put on Don Gavin,
just bury him.
Kevin Knox, Steve Sweeney. Oh, it was hell. Mike Donovan.
I like that.
And they would just eat shit.
Gotta earn it.
And they would love that these guys would eat shit.
I like that.
They bring in they pay him all this money to go perform at this club. This is a club, by the way, that would pay you in Coke or cash.
Oh, yeah, that's old days. Yeah, right there.
Days.
I've only read about that, which makes me so happy. Like, you want Coke, money, or just Coke, or just money?
Back in the day, there was a club that used to do that.
I like that.
Yeah, and I think probably more than one.
Oh, for sure.
I mean, these were partying people.
I would hear about that all the time.
You know how they all got hit up, though? Taxes.
What do you mean? Oh, yeah,
they were
yeah.
all getting paid cash.
Well,
they all didn't pay their
I remember
taxes.
opening for Greg Giraldo as, like, the club that I started at. Like, he just used the open micers as free openers, and also pick up the comedian at the airport. And we wanted to pick up Greg Giraldo and Chris Porter, all these guys. We were excited to pick up the comics from the airport. But that was his way of not having to pay a car service to pick up the comics from the airport.
Oh, the club owner did that?
Yeah, the club owner did it. And then he'd also be like, you guys are all going to do short sets in front of the headliner, which we're excited to do, but that also means he doesn't have to pay us to open. So he doesn't have to pay for a middle or a host. So it was a trick, but we were happy to be part of the trick because we just wanted stage time.
Sure.
And you get to hang out with Greg Giraldo. How
It's
cool
like
is that?
you're being an intern.
Yeah, it felt like that. Yeah, and I was happy with the trade.
Yeah.
You know, that stage time is valuable. But and I got to meet all my heroes, that came through. And I remember Greg Giraldo. He's clean now. And he's trying to be an honorable husband, and he's got the fix. And he would just be like, Jeff, if this was back in the day, we would have been knee deep in Coke. And I'm like, let's do that now. Like why? How did I miss it? I'm reading about all these tales.
It's unsustainable.
Yeah.
The only guy who's been able to sustain partying for an entire career is Stanhope.
Yeah, well, or they die. Dangerfield was doing it till the end.
He did it to the end.
Yeah.
He was smoking pot and doing lines to the very end.
Yeah, well, he was committed.
Oh, come on.
Yeah, well, this is comedy.
The notes in the
Love
green
it. You saw
room?
me browsing those last night. I was
great?
pretty into that.
Yeah.
How'd you get him?
His wife. His wife gave him to us.
Really?
Yeah. Whitney knows his wife, and when she found out we were opening up the club.
I love that.
Yeah.
I love stuff like that.
I want to do something like what he did, where he had Rodney Dangerfield and Friends, where he did those HBO shows.
Oh, yeah.
Where
We
he
just introduce your
the
guys.
world to some of the best comics. I want to do something like that.
You'd help a lot of guys, let me
Yeah.
tell you.
I
Because
think doing that from the mothership would be fucking amazing.
that would help a lot of guys.
I think there's guys out there that could use it too. There's guys out there that have 10 minutes of murder and just put those 10 minutes of murder together and have 4 or 5 guys on a show and have some fun.
Would you be able to commit to picking the guys you like as opposed to
I'd
the
have
guys
to.
that Netflix wants you to plug?
No, if I was going to do Joe Rogan and Friends, it would have to be people that I really think are funny.
I love that.
Whether I know them or not.
I love
people that I really admire. And that's what he did, what Rodney did was different than anybody else other than Carson, who wasn't really a comedian, right? So Johnny Carson was the way that everybody got famous. You got on the Tonight Show.
You're the new Carson, by
and you
the
get
way.
to sit. Oh, thank you.
I believe
And you
that.
get to sit next to Carson, like, holy shit, I'm sitting next to Carson, and he likes you so much. You made it. You were headlining in comedy clubs after that, and traveling around the country, and there's guys like Rich Jeni did dozens of.
Yeah, Rich Jeni was great.
Amazing.
A very unhappy man, but a talented man.
Super depressed.
Yeah.
Guy. But then you had Rodney. And what Rodney did is he introduced people to the HBO special comedians. So these weren't comedians like Tonight Show clean comedians. These were guys like Robert Schimmel, Dice Clay, Bill Hicks, Sam Kinison, Dom Irrera. killers. Lenny Clark, killers.
Yeah.
And like headliners already, like, and then they all got HBO specials.
Love
and then they all became like national talent and like people that would see them everywhere. But it all came out of Rodney because Rodney had this desire to introduce these comics to the rest of the world, whereas nobody else was doing that.
And I
back
love
then.
that. That's how you help people.
Yeah.
Is by going, hey, I know this guy isn't famous. He doesn't have a sitcom.
Yeah.
But I'm funny. Here's the guy that I think is funny. I also think I think our Rodney Dangerfield is Dave Attell. Joke,
yeah.
just crushing killer. I think
think
our
he's
Larry the
better.
Cable Guy's Theo Vaughn. Like, like it's got the voice and the things and you don't know what is a story and what is a joke.
Right.
But, our Eddie Murphy's Kevin Hart. You can, our Normie is, or Norm Macdonald is kind of a Mark Normand. Like, you have these kind of next guys.
Sort of. I think they're all their own thing.
They are their own thing.
Yeah, I mean, I don't really think it's our this or our that. I don't think about it that way.
Well, you don't think styles influence people?
Yeah, they definitely do.
For sure.
Sure. I think, like if you listen to Stephen Wright, then you listen to Mitch Hedberg.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah,
That's beautiful.
Absurdist, non sequiturs. Yeah.
Oh, I'm very inspired by
Yeah.
Norm and Patrice and Simpsons.
Sure.
Like, if you watch my act, you can go, I know all the things this guy watched.
But I think it tells his own thing. Like, I think he's one of the greatest of all time. I really do.
Oh, I think so too.
I saw him at the Mothership one night. I came in just to watch a set. It was amazing.
Machine Gun Joe.
And he's so in the groove. He's just this Zen master on stage. Where every beat is perfect. He's a master.
I love him.
He's so good. He's so good at just talking shit too. When he has everybody come on stage
fun.
with him, he gives everybody a microphone and they just start shitting on him.
Yeah, he's the best. He also has still he's still maintained. People like when you don't change, Like if you're a fat celebrity, you better stay fat. We don't want to see you skinny.
Right.
And if you're a skinny person and you get fat, they go, what happened?
Right.
Like we don't want any. That's why child stars are doomed because they're gonna have to change. And you're gonna, I liked him when he was a cute kid.
Right.
But I think the same thing is true with Attell. He still looks like he's broke.
Yeah.
You look at Attell, you're like, that guy, is he
Same
all right?
clothes. He dresses the
like,
same
he's all
way
right.
every time you see him. Even on his specials, wearing it could be 80 degrees outside. He's got a jacket on,
Like a do-rag and a
baseball
hat.
He's just bizarre.
I love that. And I love that you're like, is he okay? You're like, that's one of the best comedians in the world. He's crushing it, yeah.
But he's really in his own little world. Like, he really does still read newspapers, and he writes
Love
jokes in a coffee shop, and his flip phone.
Yeah.
He texts you.
No, from a flip phone? I didn't know that.
Every time I get a text from him, I
T9.
appreciate it because I know how long it took to make. These fucking things take forever. And he was in here in the studio, and he was sitting there. He had a text somebody. He was going,
Oh, that's
I was like,
hilarious.
what are you doing?
Yeah, you're like my dad. That's wild.
But he's right. Right? If you don't want to be connected to that world, you don't want to be influenced in, just stay in the zone. And who's better at staying in the zone than him? Nobody.
Yeah.
Who's better at coming up with new material? Nobody.
Yeah, he's awesome.
So he's just found this area to exist in.
Yeah, he's
like,
the best.
I'm good.
Yeah.
I'm good.
I love it. I think he's one of the greats. So we agree that he's one of the greats. I had a couple of friends. This is a long time ago. We just went to a theater show. We saw this comic. He wasn't very funny. And they love to do that. Oh, I saw this special. It sucked. Like they love to shit on it better than just going, we enjoyed it. And so I go, oh, who'd you see? And they go, oh, I can't remember his name, but we'll text you if we can remember or whatever. And I was like, okay, these are good friends of mine. And so then later on, they're like, oh, it was Dave Attell. And I go, oh, you were wrong. You are just wrong. And they're like, no, it was really bad. I go, wrong, you're wrong. There's just no way that is, and I think that's the disconnect of maybe a theater show.
Well, also,
or
were
a
you paying
Netflix
attention?
special.
Were you talking to your friends? Were you looking at your phone?
They wanted some crowd work or something. I don't know what they expected, but I was like, you're wrong. That's one of the greatest.
Yeah.
I think sometimes if a venue's too big, and the person's all small, maybe there's a disconnect there.
Maybe.
But
I don't know, but there's usually screens.
Yeah.
It's people have shitty tastes.
Yeah, I couldn't believe it.
Yeah, I've heard things like that before about other comedians that I think are awesome. I'm like, shut up.
Well, and also the stadium's laughing and going, this guy's the best. And then my
I
dumb
thought they
friends
were all
are going,
cheap jokes.
Right.
Oh, you mean my favorite kind? Like, shut the fuck up. Shut the fuck up. I like a good cheap joke.
Yeah, exactly.
A cheap joke that makes me laugh.
Did
is
it work?
fun.
Yeah, it should laugh. Yeah, exactly.
I'm not necessarily a connoisseur. I'm just here to have a good time.
Well, I do think that's a good thing too about taste. I think it was in Dave Grohl's book. Where he was like, I'll drink shitty coffee from like a gas station, but also appreciate like a nice espresso. And I think that's a good way to like think about even like jokes.
Yeah.
I'll take a one-liner or a cheap joke. I'll take a story, a misdirection. I'll take anything.
Just make me laugh.
Yeah, I like the good stuff and the bad stuff. Yeah.
But the thing that's
Or not
hard
bad
for
stuff,
comics is to maintain an audience enthusiasm, right? Like to watch comedy like and appreciate it like you used to before you were a comic. Because you know the tricks, and it's one way to like when you see someone who's doing hacky stuff, you're like yuck, but just fun, just have a good time.
Yeah.
Don't start breaking down someone's bits or like you see comics, they can't laugh.
I
They're
know.
watching things and everything is like I don't know, I
Yeah.
don't think it's a little extra time to get to this joke. Could have edited that out a little bit better. And you start like too much.
Right.
You're not
I
an
agree.
audience.
I did that early. I'd police guys.
Right.
Like when I was like a passionate, obsessed with comedy open micer, I would be like, so-and-so has a bit about that subject. And it's like, yeah, like we're all talking about the same subjects, But I would be the guy that would be like, well, you shouldn't do that because Daniel Tosh has a thing, but it was all bullshit. It was just me being so passionate about it that I was overdoing
Well, you're
it.
probably applying those standards to yourself, too. Right?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, so that's part of it. You see someone who's like, come on, man. You know that fucking Gilbert Gottfried had a bit about that.
Yeah. But like also just you don't want to overthink it. I think you're 100% right. Like have fun with the crowd, be out there.
Yeah, and just be able to enjoy different kinds of comedy, too. And just some people just can't. And there's so many people, particularly like left-wing comics, like comedy has to line up with their ideology or they just won't get into it. They can't.
I hate it.
I used to see that with Dice Clay. That was the big one. And we were talking about this last night because, like, I came in as, like, a Dice Clay fan when I was a kid. And by the time Dice had gotten kicked off of MTV and it was, like, in fashion for comedians to call him a sexist and a pig. And, like, this guy, it's a character.
Yeah, what are you talking
It's
about? Yeah.
Also, it's like, shut the fuck up.
Right.
And then there was like so much jealousy. There was a little jealousy about him too because he was the first comic that ever sold out arenas. So he was selling out arenas when everybody else was like struggling to like fill a weekend at a little comedy club. Like what?
Yeah.
And these guys all started with him. And he was one of those guys that got on Rodney Dangerfield special and just took off.
Interesting.
And then he did his own special. I think it was called Dice Rules, and that special took off. And then, dude, he was everywhere. And it was different than any other kind of comedy because everybody knew the nursery rhymes and they wanted to say it with him.
The hits.
So it was like going to a concert.
Yeah.
What's in the bowl, bitch?
Yeah.
Oh, and everybody go, yeah.
Yeah.
It was
Which,
different.
if anyone was to criticize, like I know a lot of the old dogs in Boston would be like, these guys aren't doing anything different, but that's different.
Yeah.
So you get something that's different that's working, and then people will kind of get mad.
They
But
were
like
mad,
you claimed you wanted something different, and it's working. It's working, and it's different.
Just because you do a different thing, like if you're an observational comic, just because you do a different thing, doesn't mean that thing that all
100%.
these tens of thousands of people are screaming and cheering for is wrong.
Right, 100%.
That's a crazy way of looking
I'll
at
give
it.
you a great example. I was at Skankfest, right, this year in Vegas, which what a treat, and so grateful to them for having me. So I don't ever want to make it sound like I'm not grateful. But I went and watched Carrot Top, Scott Thompson. Right, I went over to the Luxor. I watched the show, and then I come back to Skankfest, and I was like, "Oh, we were at Carrot Top," blah. And people were like, "Carrot Top?" And I was like, "He's better than all of us, just so you know."
He's funny.
It's great, Joe. 90 minutes of not missing. It was relevant as far as like he was doing topical things. He had a P. Diddy joke that happened like the night before I saw him. Like he had all the, it wasn't all props. There was a lot of topical stuff, tons of Trump stuff, political stuff. There was like maybe a 1 minute segment where I was like, because I was going in with an open mind. Like, if it's gonna be shit, I'll say it's shit, and if it's great, I'll say it's great. And there was a one little chunk that I was like, that's a little hacky, and it's like a Vegas Luxor joke about how like, oh, they made it a pyramid because if you try to jump out the window, you'll just end back up at the casino. I was like, that's kind of I've heard that kind of thing. But then I started thinking about it. I was like, no. He probably wrote that. He's been doing this for 29 years. Sometimes you'll watch Pryor, and he'll be like, black women are like this, white, and you go, that's hacky. No, he did it first.
Right.
And so in my mind, I was like, 90 minutes of not missing, and he's the nicest guy in the world, and he's crushing it. It's a great, great, great show.
Well, he was a guy that in the early days when he was taking off, everyone shit on.
Yeah.
Everyone shit on, including Hicks. Hicks had a whole bit about Carrot Top.
Which sucks, because he's so good.
It was just a jealousy thing. It was just shitting on the guy who was doing this thing that you think is somehow or another coloring outside the lines.
Which is crazy to me.
Didn't make any sense. And then he also kind of was alienated from everybody because he did a residency in Vegas. He was like one of the first big guys to just do it. He's been in Vegas forever.
29 years.
That's so crazy.
Yeah.
That's a long time.
And that means it must be pretty good.
He does well.
Oh, man, I want you to see it. Have you seen it?
He's a really nice guy.
I want you to. Oh, you saw it.
Yeah,
Good.
I saw
It's so good, and couldn't have been more humble, and like it was just like such a nice guy. And I said this to him. I wanted him to hear it, that like, all the hate that my like comedy friends do is just because it's become a thing.
Yeah.
It's not because it's real. So like I think this happens in life. Like people go, oh, Henry Winkler, Jeff, you worked with Henry Winkler. Isn't he the nicest guy in the world? Yes, Henry Winkler is the nicest guy in the world, but so are a lot of people.
Right.
But we've learned Henry Winkler's the nice, so we just repeat it. Taylor Swift only sings about her ex-boyfriends. Every musician sings about their exes. Why is that Taylor Swift's thing?
Well,
it's
she's
just
got a lot.
But it's just something we've heard and we repeat as like a hacky thing. And I think that's the same with Carrot Top. It became hack. It became like a trend to make fun of him, but he didn't deserve it. That act is killer.
Yeah, there's a lot of that. That's Trump as a Nazi.
Right.
Yeah.
It's not fair.
Yeah. There's a lot of that. There's narratives. There's headlines, clickbait narratives that just get spread.
I don't know. I hate it.
It's easy to define people in a certain way.
They'll say, oh, I see it in like small things. Oh, you swallow 10 spiders a year. I go, no, you don't. What are you, sleeping outside with your mouth open? What are you talking about? Why are people repeating these things that aren't, oh, you lose 1 million hairs a month? You're like, no, you don't. Like, where are these things being repeated or perpetuated?
The internet, just like we were talking about how much Lizzo made to
yeah, but just like, yeah, exactly, yeah. Which I'm probably going to wear that a little bit, but I think we got to the bottom of it.
Well, we probably are at least semi-accurate. I just wonder who came up with that list in the first place.
Well, but there's a difference between me saying something wrong on your podcast and millions of people repeating a thing that they heard about Carrot Top. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't understand how that becomes a reputation. And now this guy lives in some world where he goes, everyone hates me, and even Family Guy's shitting on me. I don't deserve this.
Well, one of the things that he said that after he came on my show, he started getting a lot of love. And
good.
He said it was way different. A lot of people were coming to the shows that had were fans of my show and then wanted to come see him. And it's like he turned a corner, and he should have never had to do that. I never met the guy.
Right.
Like, I didn't meet him until I did a podcast with him.
Yeah.
So for me, it was cool to just
chill,
have fun with him. And, let him get out of that.
Right. When also he's a comedian.
Yeah. And he's a nice guy.
Yeah.
He's not hurting anybody.
Didn't do anything.
He's a sweetheart of a guy.
Right. I feel like what happened to more prop comics?
They all went away because he's so successful. He defined prop comedy.
He's like Weird Al.
Yeah.
You don't see parody music anymore.
Right.
Weird Al goes, I got 50 albums. Who's next?
You don't see anybody smashing watermelons. Gallagher
he did it,
that's the only one.
Yeah. Well, I guess Bo Burnham does musical parody, but it's not the same.
Sure, he does it, but he started on YouTube, right?
Yeah.
That was like.
But it isn't like he doesn't take a song. You know how like Weird Al would take Michael Jackson's song, so you knew the song and then you'd repeat. Which is great.
Yeah.
I loved Weird Al. I haven't thought about him in a long time.
But prop comics,
it's over.
It's it. Like puppet comics, they went away. You have Jeff Dunham, and that's it.
What was the guy? I know you'll know this.
Otto and George.
Otto. He
was the best.
Say it. So funny.
Oh my god.
Dirty.
I used to work with Otto. We used to do these prom shows at Dangerfield's. So when I first moved to New York City, Dangerfield's was one of the clubs that I worked at the most because it was like. First of all, I couldn't believe it was Rodney Dangerfield's club, and they actually filmed one of Dangerfield's specials there. And,
so you were like a fan of Dangerfield.
Oh, huge fan. And we do these prom shows. And the prom shows would start at like 7 p.m. or whatever it was, and they would go on until 4 o'clock in the fucking morning. And it was kids, like from the Bronx and Staten Island. They'd come in on buses and limos, and they'd all be drunk. And they would fill up these fucking little clubs with these kids, and then just want you to do the same material the next show so the kids leave. So they never had the kids leave. So they would tell you, hey, you got to stop doing new material. Do the same material every time. I'm like, I'm not doing the same material.
Why?
I'm not going to bomb.
Yeah.
I'm here to do my set. You can't tell me what to do. You've got me here for 5 sets. If you got 5, if I look and that same drunk kid is in the front row, I'm gonna do a new set.
Yeah, that's great.
You know, I have another 10 minutes.
Trying to grow, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it was fucking ridiculous, but the shows would go on forever and ever, and I did a bunch of them with Otto.
Oh, wow.
Oh,
I'm
my
so
God.
jealous to hear that. 'Cause do you think that the internet has a lot of Otto and George?
There's a
like
few.
you can find stuff? Because
You had to see him live because you couldn't believe what the fuck he
Yeah,
was
it's
saying.
amazing.
He was so wild.
Yeah.
He would say the fucking craziest shit. And then he would say to the puppet, George, what the fuck are you
Yeah,
saying?
don't
Can't
say
believe
that."
you talk like that.
yeah, which is great. You got an out, but it's your hand. That's the brilliant.
There
Oh, here
he
we go.
is.
Yeah,
There
dude,
he
it's
is.
so funny.
Dirtiest Dozen, 1988.
I love it. I
Let me
love
hear
that this
some of
is on
this.
the internet.
Yes, I'm fucking uncomfortable here. Gotta take a shit and everything. Sorry. I had a ride here in the trunk of the car. It sucked. It was boring. I turtle waxed my dick. I was so fucking bored in there. Johnson's turtle wax, 3 coats. I want to see the water jumping off of it. That's right. I got a wooden cock. I was circumcised with a pencil sharpener. At least I stay hard when I'm drunk. Laugh it up, you fucking hard-ons.
George, please watch it. There are ladies here.
There's ladies here? Blowjobs. Protein Slurpees. Check it out.
He's like a star to me.
Who saw this movie? E.T. Goes Down. Blowjobs. My girlfriend gave me skull last night. She did a good job. When she was done, my cock looked like a totem pole and her face looked like a glazed donut.
I just love the
That
idea.
was-
Like the premise is preposterous, but
You had to see him live. If you saw him live and you were in the room with him, it was so fun.
oh, and that's been like I know everyone talks about blowjobs now, but like back at the time, that's pretty like
Oh, it was
edgy
very
stuff.
edgy.
Yeah?
This is 88, right?
Yeah.
So he was a kind of a wild dude, and unfortunately, that kind of cost him a lot of substances.
Oh, I see.
mixed in the
Wild
mix.
that way.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
a little off the rails, a little crazy.
We had a couple of guys these knuckleheads who lived in Seattle, but we looked up to them because anyone that was, anyone was like an older brother or somebody in comedy was a big deal to us. And they did a thing called Robo. And he had his own MySpace page and everything. And it was just this terrible robot. It was a trash can that they just put a box head on. And they had like 2 buttons, it was on a race car kind of thing. So it could only spin and the eyes would light up. And then when you hit like a thing, it would make his mouth make a little line of lights. And the guy would just be in the back. A comedian would be in the back reading his jokes off the notepad.
Is it right here?
Oh, here it is, Robo. And the jokes were just so funny. His head would fall off sometimes, but he'd be like, "Why do women wear makeup and perfume?
Let me
Because
hear
they're
some of it.
ugly and they stink." And then he would like spin around.
Let me hear some of it.
The bathroom to take a leak. I've been needing to get that fixed.
I can't understand it.
No,
Someone
shit.
in there offered me some cocaine. I said, no thanks. I'm already wired. Get it?
Just terrible shit. But like, yeah, he would just be like, "Why do women get their periods? Because they deserve it." And then all you like spin around and people would leave. I mean, it's an open mic. It was not like, at least Otto and George had like a sold out. This would be 2 guys just drunkenly having a good time with terrible jokes and putting it on the robot, which
That's
is
actually a really good idea.
so funny.
Well, it's cool because you can get that robot to say things just like you can get South Park to say things because they're not real people.
Oh, it's not me in the back with a
Yeah.
microphone. It's
Yes.
the robot. Yeah.
it's Cartman.
Right. Oh,
Yeah.
it's so funny.
It's not even a human. It's a big round thing.
He said one time they got booked too, or actual the first time someone tried to book them, like, "Hey, Rob, we would love to have you at our venue." It's like, no, it's Robo. Like, it's not like it might have been an automated thing or something, but they thought it was so funny that someone tried to book them off of a video like that.
That's hilarious.
I love that kind of stuff, though.
Well, somebody probably thought that was a real act.
Yeah.
You could take it somewhere.
I love it.
You probably could have. I mean, someone could easily do that.
Yeah,
I mean, how hard is it to do?
it's so funny.
Have you seen that comedian on Kill Tony? What is the gentleman's name that has he has some sort of a neurological condition where he can't talk, so he has a Bluetooth speaker.
Oh,
and
yeah.
he does his jokes.
I haven't seen him on Kill
He's
Tony,
at the
but
QS Comedy Club in like 2 weeks.
oh, that's
There
It's on the
hilarious.
calendar. It's Aaron Belial's his name.
Aaron Belial. He's
Yeah.
a very nice guy. Funny too.
Yeah, I know.
Funny.
I've seen this guy on AGT or something.
Right.
Yeah.
That's what it was. It was on America's Got Talent.
Yeah, I've seen him. I almost did a thing after him. I had to follow him somewhere. I can't remember what it was. But it was for like Louis J. Gomez. One of these shows where being mean is like okay, you know. Yeah, they were like,
encouraged.
yeah, it encouraged. It was like Louis J's like, you got to tell your most fucked up joke first, and then try to get out of the hole. And in my mind, I'm like, this sounds like a nightmare. Yeah, but they
That
can
was
tell
the
us to do
rule?
that. Yeah, and every comic made the same mistake where we came out and went. We try to get comics. We try to get around the rules a little bit. I was going. He told us we had to say the most fucked up joke first, so we all did that kind of buffer. So it just didn't work for any of us. But that guy was before me, and so I thought about just recording into my phone like a thing and acting like I'm him as like my first thing. And I was like, this isn't gonna go over well. I'm just gonna
Yeah, you didn't. No one's gonna be on your side.
right. So, but I was like, you
But
get a
what
little
kind
more
of
brave.
balls? That guy has incredible balls to
Yeah.
do that. But he can barely walk. Can't move his arms well.
Playing your hand.
Yeah,
He's playing his hand.
He's playing his hand.
He's been dealt that.
Yeah.
And he's making the fucking best of
He's
it.
headlining in Key West.
100%.
Yeah,
I
that's
love it.
That's a great example of
Yeah.
playing your hand.
Yeah. He didn't go, oh, this is bullshit. Send me money.
Dude, I have to piss so bad.
What's up?
I have to piss so bad.
All right.
Should we wrap this up?
Yeah, let's do it, dude.
Last Cowboy.
Yes. Last Cowboy in L.A. Comes out today. It's
all
It's
right.
out today, right? This comes out tomorrow?
Where can people see it? Yeah.
Yeah, so it comes out today if you're hearing this. It's on 800 Pound Gorilla is the name of the production company. So like just go to YouTube, search Jeff Dye, Last Cowboy in LA, you can find it.
Hopefully you can search it.
Yeah.
Hopefully
I
YouTube
know.
doesn't
Well,
fuck your algorithm.
yeah,
like
we'll
they
see
did with
after some of the stuff I
My
said.
Trump interview.
Oh yeah, let's can we watch this? Would that be all right?
I mean, technically hasn't premiered yet. It'll
I
premiere.
know, but this is a little
the
trailer.
trailer,
Can
yeah.
we watch the trailer? Is that all right?
Sure. Yeah, let's watch the trailer and we'll wrap this up.
do
Everybody
it.
go see
I
it.
hit rock bottom in Hollywood, California. That is a bad place for rock bottom because everyone is mean to you there. In Hollywood, my entire career, everybody in Hollywood's been like, you're not even famous. I've never heard of you. You're not famous. You're not even famous. You're not famous. I have never heard of you. You're not famous. You're not even famous. Right? And then I have one bad day and it's like, famous comedian, crashes car, fights cop. I'm like, God damn it.
Where'd you film this?
Nashville.
Yes, yes. Also, I if I'm honest, I actually like trans women better than I like regular women. I do. Have you ever talked to a trans woman? They're great. They're like dudes. Just raw dogging life, you know?
Was this at Zany's?
No, music venue.
This is brave, what I'm doing right now. Hit him with the poetry. Like, no, not the... I like her. She likes naughty words, you know? Probably not a smart subject to do on my first special, but, you know, I like to start it canceled.
All right.
Last Cowboy.
Last Cowboy.
Check
Thanks,
it out.
brother.
Thanks
That was
for having
fun.
me on, man. Appreciate
My
you.
pleasure. Bye, everybody.